And we're back with another installment
of the podcast.
Turkish Quandale Dingle here.
Yo, that was the perfect one. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
Go, 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 go. What's up, guys? How you been? Gregistan, it seems like we're still waiting on your drop.
Yeah, don't worry. The drop is coming. Don't worry, the pizzas are coming.
Yeah, that's what he said for a long time.
Here we go.
George R.R. Martin. I chopped my penis up.
That's what he said?
No, but it happened in South Park. So that's what Playboy Cardi said. You haven't heard that one?
No.
What's up, guys? How you guys been? It's been another week. We're here with new tales of ours to recount and entertain you guys for the next bit here. So, Gregistan, what's up with you?
I am in immense pain, but I'm not a woman, so I can deal with it. Yeah, horrible stomach ache right now. Literally like 10 minutes before we were getting ready to record too. So I'm dealing with that.
Yeah, well, what could have caused this, Greg? What do you think? What do you think's the source here?
I really haven't the slightest idea, besides maybe overeating, but that usually is impossible for me.
Well, were you at maximum fullness?
No.
You weren't at max capacity. So what'd you eat, Sir Greg?
I will tell you. What I had was, this morning I started off my day right with a nice bowl of Greek yogurt, full fat, and a decent drizzle of honey on top. You mix that in, and I had something else with that? I think it was a glass of orange juice. Not even like a full glass though. Like I usually do like a quarter of the glass. Preserve the nectar. And then after that, I had an omelet with bacon, cheese, avocado, and some honey drizzled on top. Then, a few hours after that, I had myself a large steak. I don't really remember what cut it was. It might have been a New York strip. Not sure. Large steak, some gnocchi, and a Mexican Coke.
Yeah, I was asking you about this. What is gnocchi?
Gnocchi.
Gnocchi. So it's an N-word.
No, it's a G word.
Oh, it starts with G-N?
Yeah, gnocchi.
Oh. So
what
is this? Something Asian?
Spanish.
I mean,
no, bro, it's Italian.
What?
You've never heard of gnocchi?
Oh, you're talking about gnocchi, bro, like the pasta.
No, bro, it's gnocchi.
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 Yeah, I had no idea what you were saying before, but
it's
now
gnocchi.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I've tried it. I've actually had it many times.
But you're pronouncing it like gnocchi, but it's gnocchi.
Anyway, so what was this cooked in, this gnocchi?
Olive oil and a sauce, which, to be fair, I don't know what was in it. It was a wine-based sauce.
So this was out on an excursion outdoors, huh?
I was at a buddy's house, actually.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. I mean, I don't know what was in the sauce. Now, what exactly does gnocchi contain other than potato? What kind of pasta are we looking at here?
It's Jesus Christ. It's usually potato flour, eggs, and salt, but occasionally they will combine wheat flour in there.
Yeah, that might be it. Or, something with the starch not being cooked in saturated fat, maybe causing an issue there.
I can't remember the last time I've had a potato that wasn't cooked in saturated fat.
Unfortunate thing. So here I am yesterday out with my friend. We're going down an interstate, and he says, "Man, my stomach is just killing me. Like, I need to go eat." And so we go to Wendy's, right? And, obviously, so I'm not a fast food partaker, but, I know how to get around these things, right? So what I do is I order 2 of the a la carte patties, right? So they're all ground beef. So you just get 2 of those. That's what I got. And that's what I would do if I were to go out to eat. Honestly, just go to their McDonald's or Wendy's, get those, because I mean they do claim 100% ground beef, nothing else, and you don't really think they're cooking it in much other than just the fat itself of the burger. That's what they usually do, so safe. What I do is I also get a Dave's all natural lemonade. So I mean, that is probably just cane sugar and lemon if they're saying it's all natural. Hopefully, I mean I could look up the ingredients, maybe not, but anyway, it did taste fine. But the problem is I asked for a baked potato, and it's like a sour cream baked potato. And so I'm like, let me get the sour cream baked potato. They bring it out. The guy gives me the sour cream and the butter. Let me tell you, it's not butter. It's called buttery spread. And guess what? It's like 50% vegetable oil. So I'm like, well, I can't use that. I guess I can just use the sour cream. I wanted some saturated fat with my potato. So I'm like, fine, let's just use the sour cream. I look at the ingredients. Cornstarch is really high up there. And then it has xanthan gum. And I'm like, man, I can't even have safe sour cream. This is a shame.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they're cucked. They're cucking you at Wendy's if you ask for that sour cream. I guess it's just to keep it in the fridge long enough, for however long they need to.
Oh, that reminds me. So, noticing the distress my stomach is in, I decided before the show starts to make my old-fashioned concoction of heavy whipping cream, milk, and then maple syrup. And for whatever reason, the maple syrup wasn't enough, so I added some honey too. I don't know what was in that. I don't know how long that's been sitting there. I think I had a glass of milk just earlier today. Something did not taste right about that concoction. I think it might have been the cream.
Oh, I was going to say, how does the maple syrup go old? Yeah, it might have been the cream. And that could be messing you up even more if it's old.
So that's why I was saying before we were recording, let's see how far I can get into this episode, because I don't know what's going to happen, but it does not feel great.
Guys, this might be the one we call Greg Throws Up.
Again.
Again. What, you want to tell that or no?
Did we not?
I don't think we ever told that story.
That was a great night too.
Yeah.
Well, up until that point.
Well, I'll let you tell it.
Hold on. Wait. I thought I was going to bring up something else, but I forgot what it was.
Well, okay, but I was, No,
yeah, we're gonna get back to that. I'm just thinking. I'm like kind of. My thinking is not as sharp as it used to be.
Wow, because of the stomach ache or what?
Yeah, it's not great. I was hoping it would go away.
I've recently dabbled in nicotine usage, and the thing with that is when you pop a Zyn, the nicotine ends up sometimes giving motherfuckers a little stomach ache. It's a little it's not really like a prolonged stomach ache, but it's like the fact is I'm using it. I'm going outside in the hot sun spitting, and I'm not really hydrated.
You're outside?
I was outside.
But you're outside.
Well, not right now.
Okay.
Just come outside for the night. Fiend. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-mm. I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's Travis Scott.
Oh, well, that explains why I don't know what the fuck it is.
He made a video where there was like a bunch of Asian kids. The song's called Fiend, so they go like Fiend. And then there's like this one scene with like Asian kids, and people are like this minute, like they link to it, and they're like Sheen. Yeah, that was pretty funny. No, but anyway, it kind of gives me a stomach ache. So what I do, I don't even look up solutions. What I do is I just go based on kind of like my intuitive thinking at this point on, based on what I've established for myself as far as knowing my own signals of my body. And basically what I do is I chug some coconut water, and then I lay down, and I looked it up after. I'm like, what should you do if you get this like a similar issue? Because I'm like, how common is this for people to actually get? I was looking at this guy who was like a doctor or something. He's talking about like nicotine sickness, and he's like, yeah, the first thing you want to do is like chug a cold glass of water. Well, I mean, that kind of accomplished that with the coconut water. It was cold. And then he's like, and then also you want to lay down. I'm like, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So look at that. I don't even need a doctor. I just do what I think I need to do, and I'm fine. And I actually was better pretty much immediately.
So cold coconut water and laying down.
Well, at least for that, if you get a stomach ache from nicotine.
This is definitely not a nicotine stomach ache.
Well, I'm just saying, if you have that, then you could. I forgot what the other thing you should do is. There were 3 things, but those 2 things were the things I did anyway, and they helped. Oh yeah, he said you can use well, this is actually something else that helps me, because the coconut water actually has sugar. what he was saying you could do is actually put a sugar cube under your tongue, getting that sugar into your blood as quick as possible, because that actually helps like get your blood sugar back to normal as well. So if anything, I was also doing that with the coconut water. So look, you know, my you know, I didn't even just get a regular glass of water. My thinking here has outweighed any sort of doctoral advice.
Doctoral advice is a scam anyway.
I know, you know, I just figured it out by myself.
Who would have thought limitless information at the touch of your fingers could circumvent the need to waste money on a doctor? Not me. Yeah. I could have never come to that conclusion.
Imagine you stub your toe and you're like, shit, I need somebody to look at this.
You'd have to like absolutely obliterate your toe with that.
Well, you know the one where like you've seen that video online where like somebody's like kicking the wall, like pretending to kick. It's like, actually, it's scientifically proven that you cannot stub your toe. If you keep trying to kick into the wall, your brain won't let you. And then there's this guy that just like bangs it. He's like, like he's just mashing his foot into the wall hard.
I'm not familiar with this one.
Dude, it's a great video. Now, look, you know, we were going to tell your story about vomiting here. So, you know, what are we? Let's set the scene for us. Set the scene.
Hey, well, you gotta start it off like that.
Well, we kind of made it clear that it was about hurling chunks.
I mean, wait, what the fuck? Okay, shit, that's off topic. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm like going through my like Discord feed while we're doing this.
This man's dealing with a stomach ache going on Discord. You know,
hey, distractions help.
The conversation isn't something he can put his mind to.
Hey, I'm multitasking here.
Yeah.
I'm a smart character from comic book. I don't know. I don't read comics. Anyway, I was gonna ask though, before we got into that, I was thinking more of like a cartoonishly like evil guy.
The Riddler.
He's not really smart, is he?
Dr. Penguin.
Dr. Penguin.
Is he? Oh, he's the Penguin. I was thinking of Dr. Freeze or whatever.
That's not even Doctor. It's Mr.
Is it Mr. Freeze?
Yes.
I don't even read comic books.
Bruh. Oh, what I was going to ask, though, is what the fuck is Shein?
Like those Chinese factories, you know? Well, I mean, it's not really, it's a brand of clothing, but, you know, the insinuation is that they're working in the Shein factories in China. So I was thinking, you know, but Shein is like, I think it's a web store where it's kind of like Temu, I think.
Chinese I don't know if
it's one of those really cheap ones, or if it's like, I don't know if it's really one of those cheap ones. I thought it was like a Temu kind of thing where it's like you buy clothes from there.
No, it's a brand. It looks like
it's a brand.
Wait, no, it is a retailer.
That's what I was saying. I mean, look, you know, women's clothing, women's fashion sale, Shein USA, but you really think it's USA? No.
It was started in Nanjing, China, and it is headquartered in Singapore.
Whoa. Nanjing?
Yeah.
Like where that event happened with those Japanese guys? Reminds me of that tragedy.
Is that the same place?
Reminds me of that tragedy.
Is that the same place?
Is it not? It's called the R word of Nanjing.
No, it's called the R word of Nanking.
Oh, you mean Don King?
No, Nanking.
I thought it was Nanjing.
Well, it's the same word except the J is a K. So I'm wondering if maybe Nanking was just like the Jap pronunciation of it. Let's see. Early
I didn't even know Don King got raped.
Yeah, bro. And here's the thing. I'm not even going to cut that out because I'm too lazy to find it once we're done recording. Let's see. Okay, I'm not seeing anything about it here. Wait. Okay, so there's something about Nanjing Massacre. Battle of Nanking. Is Nanking Nanjing?
These are two different things?
I don't know. It's like not being clear at all.
Why would they name the thing the exact same thing? That doesn't even... Well, China, make up your mind.
Oh, okay, here we go. The name Nanjing, which means southern capital, was officially designated for the city during the Ming Dynasty about 600 years later. In English, the spelling Nanking was traditional until Pinyin developed in the 1950s and internationally adopted in the 1980s. Standardizing.
You think I give a fuck about what ping pong said?
I don't even know what the fuck that is. Oh, that's like their way of like making it in Latin letters, basically. Jesus. Anyway. So now you know. That is in fact Nanking. They had quite the rebound after the Japanese Yeah, did that thing.
Yeah.
Now they have slave labor.
They've come a long way.
They have.
It's what I call, industry, being a titan of industry. They all have these
Innovation.
tragic backstories.
Is that true?
Yeah. Think about it. Elon Musk was bald at one point, and now he runs a space company.
He cured his baldness at the space
Exactly.
company.
So if that's the case, then a bunch of Chinese people can get together and get over the past and come together and put children in worker camps.
You know what? I'm gonna. This is gonna be like a little meme, I guess, that I'm gonna keep putting it off because that just reminded me of something. I fucking hate Twitter, bro. I've tried starting this account, like a business kind of account for another thing, and I couldn't put in my own username. So it just gave me a username. It didn't even ask me to try again or anything. It just like, oh, I'll try again later, and it gave me a random username. So then I'm like, okay, well, let me try and change it now. And I tried doing it like 3 times, and each time it's something like, oh, you're being rate limited. You can't really do it. Oh, well, this doesn't really work. I keep trying this over and over again. It's been like 3 weeks now, and I keep trying it, and it still tells me the same shit. Oh, you're being rate limited. You can't change your username. Not even that the username's taken, just that I'm being rate limited. So then what I thought,
that happened to me with like trying to sign up for Proton Mail.
the hell's
That's what they did to
Proton?
me. It's like it's another version of email. It's basically like a more secure one because the whole like that other one, I forgot the name of it. It was what was it called?
Skibbity?
Yeah, it was Skibbity. Whatever. Really, Skibbity? There's no way. Come on, Skiff mail. Come on.
It was close.
Be a little more professional here. The Skiff mail, they were shutting down, and so I had to find a new one. And Proton has been a one that has been established for a long time. I actually got a Proton VPN as well. Not a sponsor or anything, but I'm just saying. Like I decided, what, I'll get that as well. I'll make sure I'm not being tracked when I'm cracking stuff. Because I did find some good sites for doing that.
I got Skiff email like literally a week before they decided to like shut down. So yeah, that kind of sucks.
Tragic.
I wrote down my username and everything.
Yeah. So you're gonna get to this story?
Hold on. No, I'm not done ranting about Twitter actually.
Oh.
So what I did was I was like, okay, well, if I can't fix the password on this account, I could just make a new account and make the username there, and then it'll be set, and then just transfer all my shit over. But the exact same thing happened, and I couldn't do it. I tried it 3 times. It didn't work. So then I tried deleting the phone number that I had attached to it to the like basically a burner account. And then, but in order to do that, and like deleting it afterwards, but in order to do that, I need to sign in with my password. And I try signing in with my password to get to the account details so I can get rid of the phone number and then delete it. But the password doesn't fucking work. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I typed it in wrong. So I go and change my password, make sure I know exactly what I'm typing in as a password. They say they take it. It's like, okay, I change it to what I thought it was. And then I try signing in again, and it still won't go through. So I can't even delete this account now.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're kind of screwed. Now you're going to have a bot-looking account because it's going to have all those numbers at the end.
Exactly. I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And I
you might as well email like support or something or DM them.
I have no idea how to do that.
Well, you just look up Twitter support or X support, whatever, on your search bar in Twitter, and I'm sure something will show up with a gold check mark on it. Otherwise, I mean, you could just look up online Twitter support and just email whatever the email is.
I guess I could do that. On Reddit, they were saying, because a lot of people have this issue too, if you just keep spamming the submit button when you change your username, it would work after a while. It did not work after a while. So I guess I'm going to have to talk to the nerds at Twitter.
I don't know. They probably have a lot of requests too, as well, though.
That's the thing.
I'm sure people have a lot of issues. Seems like it's been like that, and if anything, there's been way more bots since the not merger, but since the shift to this new ownership. I don't know. It's been kind of hectic.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna keep pushing it off for a bit. Have you been on Threads, by the way?
No.
It is. People say that Twitter's like super right wing now.
Yeah.
Which I don't even think is necessarily true. I think it's just probably less restricted.
Mm-hmm.
Threads is the exact inverse of that, but also actually true. like I'll be on Instagram, and on Instagram, like they'll keep like pushing for you to get threads and all that, and they'll be like,
Mhm.
do they call them threads? Like the actual posts?
Perhaps.
This thread or whatever, this post is relevant to you, and it's always some stupid shit about like LGBT stuff or whatever. And I'm like, I really don't give a shit. Why are you telling me to look at this shit?
Mm-hmm. That's a little confusing. What if you have a thread of threads? It's kind of weird.
What do you mean?
Well, you know how like if you put multiple posts in a row of like you replying to yourself over and over, that's a thread where you create like multiple posts for something. So, is it, is each post a thread as well? So you have a thread and a thread and a thread, and that creates a thread. That's kind of strange.
Threadception.
Yeah, I don't like this. Now, I have just seen like, suggested posts from threads where it's just like a bunch of like, lower class people, talking about some shit I don't care about. It's some like either drama or it's some like, insight that, everybody's probably already thought of at this point, but like for some reason they feel like they're the first people to think of it. You know who I'm talking about. But pretty much it's just, it doesn't seem like worth my time to sign up for it.
I got it just for the promotional possibilities, but I don't think those are gonna bear fruit anytime soon.
Yeah, I just don't even see it becoming a popular platform. It's so like it's exactly like Mark Zuckerberg's personality just applied to a social media site, And I mean, like even with like we at least Facebook and Instagram have more personality to them. Maybe over time this can grow into something else, but with Facebook, you have all those boomers saying shit under their real names, like these like fucking like borderline terrorist posts, and you're like, that's pretty funny. And then you look over at Instagram and everybody's saying nigga in the comments, and it's like, okay, well that's pretty good too. But what does Threads really have that is like appealing? Why did they even need this? Why did they even need this? It really, I mean, it's better than having put all these things on Instagram. Like, if I had to see all that on Instagram, I think I'd just delete the app. But I don't see exactly why they thought it was, purposeful to do this. I mean, they make a lot of strange decisions, like the meta stuff. Like they think it's really working well for them, but maybe somewhat, I guess. But it's not great.
From what I recall, they made it because there was enough of a backlash against Elon doing the Twitter thing and then like the rate limiting and all that people got fed up.
It was like one day. We forgot about that already.
I know. It's all the people with low time preference.
Yeah. I wonder who those people are.
I do too.
So is that your frustration with Twitter? Are you going to get to your story now?
Man, you're rushing the story, bro.
Because it's been like 20 minutes and we're waiting for the story. Everybody wants it.
I just had to get that off my chest.
Okay.
And ideally off my stomach too, but it is getting better. So maybe the expired cream is working slowly.
You got to take something else, maybe some magnesium.
I would have to get up to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you don't have coconut water, do you?
No, but I have a mango.
Perhaps. There are solutions that exist. Now, I wouldn't recommend milk necessarily because it seems like there would be a negative association with it right now. Me, on the other hand, I drink half a gallon of 2% A2 milk daily.
Weak.
What, I should go for the full gallon? Or you're saying the fat content?
The fat content.
It's fine. It's 2%.
No,
and it's not cucked.
Nope.
It's not cucked.
It tastes like water, bro.
It doesn't.
It does.
It really doesn't. It's good.
I've been familiar with the 2%ers before. I don't like them 2%.
2%ers.
Them 2%ers, let me tell you. They
Yeah, well, despite being 2%, there's so much of it. So it's like
it's everywhere, bro.
It's always in my fridge. Like I can't get away from it.
I walk in the aisle for the milk and it's just 2% everywhere.
Yeah. That's strange because you would think with it being 2% that it wouldn't be all over. It's just strange, right?
It's very odd. It's just
like,
very odd.
Like let's say like in the world, like oranges only made 2% up of like the fruit total. And then you just saw it everywhere in the store compared to all the other fruit. You'd be like, what is this?
This is almost like a disproportionate amount of representation of the 2% milk here. Like maybe if you go to like a more, I don't know, like a more rural area like Nebraska, they'll be pumping out that full fat milk, There won't be that much 2% there.
I see.
But you're in like a higher potential income earning area, like Florida or New York or California, and It's just 2% everywhere.
You know, but the thing is, like, if you like having to do with regulating weight and keeping like, you know, actual body fat low, you're going to do that best when you're actually managing the macros in a certain manner. So basically, you know, if I keep the fat lower, or at least like I've been doing that with protein as well, and then just keeping fat up to see if that changes things. But, you know, basically I keep carbohydrates at a top level now. So it's like, you know, with that, you know, it makes it a lot easier to just drink through milk when it is just mostly, I mean, it already is mostly carbohydrate, but when it just has less of the fat and it just remains even more carbohydrate. I know Pete even said, like, there was this one interview he was on, he was talking about it, and he was like, basically it would be optimal for an adult to drink like, I guess either like skim or 1%, I think, but like a full gallon of it a day. Or I think, I don't know that he necessarily said optimal. He said more like it would be like healthy, or it would be like, you know, fine.
See, but milk, like full fat milk is only 3% fat anyway.
It's cutting it. I mean, because like, at least, you know, when he became more sedentary, he started drinking more skim milk compared to when he was younger. He was drinking like more like fuller, closer to fuller fat.
It's like a 1% difference.
I mean, it makes a difference.
Does it? It just tastes worse.
You know, though, I do have this raw milk now that I've been drinking through. I don't drink like a shit ton of it because I don't want to like drink it all at once, but I got like a half gallon of it. Full fat, obviously, because it's, you know, you want to have a little party with your raw milk, but, you know, tastes good. It kind of tastes like regular milk, but, you know, it goes down so easily. You know, there's no, I mean, I don't really have digestion problems with milk anymore, but like, it just feels so nice to have in me. Pause.
Yeah, that was incredibly sus. What the fuck?
You know, look, when my friend yesterday, when it was the beard guy, when we went out for that Wendy's and we were eating, and then he was like telling me, I asked if his stomach was all right. He's like, yeah, I just need a little bit of meat in me. And he just looks over at me and I'm like, bro, say pause. He's just like, I was waiting for something. Because it took a minute while we were just sitting there looking at each other. I'm like, what the fuck? That was strange.
Strange indeed.
You know, but this is the guy, like, honestly, that like has drank like the like most alcohol probably of anybody I've known. And this guy cut it all out completely now. He doesn't drink anymore.
Damn, I didn't even get to see the full show. When he came down to our area, he didn't touch anything really.
Yeah, not too much, I guess. You know, the first night he was there, he was like tired. He was like, bro, like it was like probably like midnight or 1:00. He was like, bro, I'm just trying to go like back to your place because like it's, you know, I'm just tired, man. I've been working all day. Like, can we go? And it was like, but I just saw you there, and you were at the bar with like not the Asian guy, but the other one, that one chick we were talking about before, and you were just getting drink after drink after drink. It was rum pineapple. You just kept going and going and going, and then I'm like, yeah, soon, man. And I go over to you. And then I start getting some too. But eventually he like starts telling me again, because it's like probably almost 1 or 2. He's like,
it was like 2 by the time we left.
Yeah, it was like 2. It was almost 2:00 at this point. He's like, man, can we just go? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm good at this point. So then I start like going over to you, and then you're getting another one right after. I'm like, man, okay, well now I'm trying to like get him back because he's been telling me so much. And then we drop him off and just go to IHOP.
Did we do that?
Huh?
Did we do that?
Yeah, we took him back to my place, put him like to sleep on the floor, and then we went to IHOP.
That sounds so much worse. We put him to sleep on the floor.
Well, he said he was okay with it. You know, obviously, like only, I mean, well, you know, we're not gonna have 2 people in the bed anyway. But actually, yeah. Who slept where? I think it was him on the floor. I think was that the night that I slept in my roommate's bed. I don't even know. Like when he was gone, I'm not sure.
I don't remember how that worked.
If he wasn't there, I took his bed. Either that or somebody took the couch.
I think I took the couch.
That might be it. The bed was nice. You know, I never wanted to take that couch. But, you know, basically, you know, he's an interesting fellow. But, you know, he did tell me one time, he's like, I mean, I'm sure I told you this story because I would tell people this. He told me one time he took like this bottle like of like whiskey or something like that. He was like, yeah, man, I just like, you know, I started drinking one night and I fell asleep. And the next morning I woke up and the bottle was like to here. And he points out like the bottom, like near it. It's like, yeah, I was just down to there, passed out, woke up with the bottle in my hand.
Jesus Christ.
And then he told me just recently, he's like, man, you know, I was going to go to work. And then I was like, you know what? I want a couple shots before I go to work. And that's the moment, apparently, that was the turning moment for him where he's like, nah, I can't do that. And he just like poured the alcohol out. It's an inspiring story.
No, it's not.
Well, you should have taken the shots. Like, how are you going to work efficiently without liquor in your system? Is what your point is. Have you seen? Who was this? I was watching some video where or like maybe reading some post. Some guy talking about like he would like only work drunk. Basically, he was like he was like this top guy. Oh, it was on Twitter, I believe. It was some guy like he was on a
guy.
it was like, yeah, top G, obviously. He was like some top guy in a company, and he was like, yeah, I would only like, you know, drink when I was at work, like, or I guess I would only be drunk when I was at work.
Drink when I was at work.
I would like when I was at work, I would only be drunk, basically. And he was saying like I was calling shot, I was doing this and that, and having these business meetings, all that. You know, I was just drinking the whole time. Yeah, that's motivation right there. That's the real motivation.
I almost went to work drunk.
Or you like hungover, or are you talking about like, you know, you just straight up drank before?
No, it wasn't even hungover. It was literally I was still drunk. Like I woke up hours after the fact. It looks like the sun's up and everything, and I wake up and the room is still spinning. Like after like, well, I got back at 3. It was like 11, like 8 hours. 8 hours after the fact, and the room was still spinning. It was not good.
Yeah, this happened to my old twink roommate. You remember him? Like, you know, I'm not talking about the gay one. You know, the one I usually talk about, not the one with autism. But basically, you know, we had I don't even know. I think maybe we had gotten Long Island's that night before. I think that was it. He had drank through a few. I think that might have been the night before what he was telling me. He's like, man, you know, I saw my girlfriend my ex-girlfriend out with like some guy I knew or something. I don't remember what it was. I don't know if he was saying he actually saw her out or if he was saying he had like some fucking vision or something. I don't even know. But he was like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, you know, and I'm like, why you asking? Why are you caring about this? He's like, I don't know. That sounds exactly like him too. But anyway, you know, there was this one. I guess that might have been the night of. I don't know. I feel like that was also the same night. I had gone to like because we were saying we were gonna make a pie. We were with Beard Guy, and yeah, we used to make pies like apple pie, like in the oven.
Cream pies?
No cream pie. So basically he was saying like, well, if we're going to do it, you have to go get some milk. And I'm like, man, where am I going to get some milk? And he's like, well, you're going to have to go walk to the convenience store. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to do that. So I end up doing it with Beard Guy. You know, we go to the I end up walking there with him. You know, basically we get to the milk, you know, we get the milk. We start running back like on the sidewalk. And then we're like running across the street at like this crosswalk. I drop the milk in the middle of the intersection, man. And so I have to like go back for it because I still was running after. I'm like, oh shit, the milk. You know, I didn't spill any, but it was just like laying there, and I had to go there before the cars came. But basically the next day, the guy wakes up and he's like, I'm still drunk. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm still drunk. And like, it's been hours throughout the day. We even go to, and unfortunately, this was a long time ago when I wasn't knowing about the seed oils or anything, but we went to Church's Chicken that day. Basically he was still drunk at this point. It was like probably 4 or 5 in the afternoon and he was still feeling it. It was bad, but basically, I mean, it was bad that he was feeling it. He wasn't like, you know, tumbling over too much, but I think he was losing a little bit of his balance. Basically we go there and then we're waiting for like an hour or something. I don't know, some long ass period. I guess they gave us some like free like biscuits or something like that, or chicken. Cause we were, you know, waiting there for so long. But basically, yeah, no, I mean, he was just like, I think he was like just moving around in there and you could tell like, it was like, he wasn't perfectly stable. But you know, the thing is, just random thought, you know, with the whole giving you something when you have to wait. I remember I had this black roommate, this black gay one. And this wasn't even the second black gay one I had. It was the first one.
What the fuck, bro?
Yeah. So many gay people,
that are black at the same time?
Yeah, I don't know what's with that. But anyway, point being, I was with him in the car. We were at like Popeyes. This was like initially when I had began the university. You know, this was like very early on. Point being, I remember this so much because, you know, basically we had went there. We had ordered something. I don't even think I really ordered anything. I think he was the one that wanted food. I don't even remember. But basically, you know, we were waiting there for a while. And then he's the one that asked them. He's like, hey, could I get something? Because we've been waiting here so long. Yeah, he basically says that to them. If you couldn't tell, he's a fan of Michael Jackson. But basically, yeah, he was asking for like some like free drink or something like that. I can't even remember. But just that's just a random thought. It's like, well, leave it to a certain group. I'm not going to name which one, to be a little needy when it comes to a sense of what you're owed. You know what I'm saying?
What dues ought to be paid?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, this is all to say that all these stories are not even the story that I prefaced beforehand. So the one that I will tell was probably even worse. Wait, I don't think I was still drunk after that night though. So maybe the other one was worse, and I just had better control over my bowels.
Mm. Is it really your bowels if it's like the stomach and the esophagus?
I guess it's the stomach. Yeah,
bowels.
Fair enough. Yeah, that makes it sound like I shit myself. That never happened.
Well, not that I know of. I didn't check, or anything, but not that I know of. I didn't smell anything.
I mean, well, okay. Anyway, so this is a important setting up of the setting, I guess. I had been hanging out. This was like one of the 3-day benders, right?
Was it? I thought this was just like one night.
Yeah, because I
actually no, it was. It was like the beginning of it, wasn't it?
I think it was the second day.
Was it?
Yeah.
But I remember, yeah, because we ended up going to like it was like this like beachy area one day, like the end of it.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like dock and stuff. There was like stuff over there.
Wait, because that was a Saturday, wasn't it?
No, that was a Sunday by the time it ended.
No. Saturday was the night.
Yeah, I guess.
Did we start on Thursday or Friday?
Was this not Friday night? Are you sure?
I think it wasn't.
No, yeah, you're probably right about the Saturday night thing.
So we went to that place on Thursday, I'm assuming. But what did we do Friday?
I think we might have taken a break. No?
There's no way we took a break.
I remember there was one time we did take a break. There was like, we went one day to something and then we stayed like home for a day. And then the next day we went like somewhere. I think that was it. Like Thursday, stop, Saturday, Sunday.
I don't recall that ever happening.
There was one time like that.
I really don't remember that happening ever.
There was one time. I don't know if it was this time. But anyway, go on.
No, because now I'm trying to remember. Did we just go back to the same place again? I don't think we did.
That's a good question. Because when did we go? Did we go, like, how long ago was it before that time that we went? I thought that was the first time we went there to that place specifically.
No, this is when we went to the one place where it closed. Like,
I know, but I thought that was the only time we had went.
It was the only time we had went.
So yeah, we didn't go to the same place on the same weekend.
I'm confused.
Well, you were saying, had we? I thought what you were saying is that had we like gone there multiple times that weekend, but I'm like, hadn't we only gone there once?
No, we had. But now I'm wondering what we did on Saturday, because I know we didn't take a break.
Well, I'm saying that was probably on Saturday, and Thursday was something else, maybe.
Thursday was, I know we went to the place that used to be good on Thursdays.
Ah, yes.
But Friday, there's no way we didn't do anything on a Friday.
It's possible.
There's no way.
Maybe we just went back to that same area with the other.
Because I remember on Saturday, I had I was like basically walking to meet people from your apartment at the time. And then I hung out with them for the entire day, and then we met up again later.
Maybe that's what you did Friday. Are you sure it wasn't?
No, I'm pretty sure it was Saturday, because I know the beach day was the day after that, and that was a Sunday.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened Friday. I mean, I'm thinking it's possible there was a break. I don't know. I don't think we're going to discover this right now. I think you might as well go on.
What could be happening is Friday was so aggressive that we don't remember what happened.
No, I would have remembered.
Well, I don't. Anyway, either way, this was at least 2 days in. Yeah, whatever. So what happened was I had met up with these people, that I was hanging out with that were not of that inclination. So I hung out with them during the day, and we'd like eat food. That's kind of what we do. We just drive around, eat food, and then talk the entire time for like a good, I want to say like 8 hours or something like that. Because I met up with them
Jeez.
at like 2, and then we went to a restaurant, and then we met up. I met up with you around like 9-ish, I think, 9 or 8, one of those hours. So
Did we
I
go to the gym that weekend?
I think we were going to the gym at that point. Yeah. Because I had to meet up with them, but we wanted to go to the gym, so we went to the gym.
Wasn't that the
And
day
then,
we went to Chick-fil-A after?
yeah, we went to the gym, and then we had to go back because then we had to shower and all that, and then we had to get food beforehand too. So we went to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I remember I went to the store that day after when you'd already went. Yeah, so I'm recalling what this weekend was. I don't know.
It's gonna bug me now, but anyway, point is, I met up with these people and we hung out with. I hung out with them from like 2-ish to like 8 or 9-ish, which is like it's like 7 hours, something like that. But anyway, and I remember because I went to the one Russian restaurant that's in that area of like the area that we were going to be in anyway. And what happened was I had told them last second, like, hey, I kind of felt bad because sometimes we do stuff like after we eat dinner, but it's a bit rough. But anyway, I told them, hey, instead of dropping me off over there, could you drop me off at this area? And they're like, sure, because it was like 10 minutes away from where we were already. And I stood in the parking lot, in the real shady parking lot. I'm pretty sure there's like a crackhead whore there wandering the parking lot. Then I met up with you.
Crackhead whore.
Well, prostitute. Is that a better word?
Well, like official prostitute, or like one of those ones on that like look really raggedy that are like just they're fiending and they're like, I will do anything for this.
She looked like she was on drugs, and she also looked like she did things to get the drugs.
But did she look like she was from a pimp business, you know?
If she did, that is some raggedy product there.
Okay, well then never mind, you know. If not, you should have pointed it out. I'm just saying.
It was a real sketchy waiting because then you showed up afterward. No, because I got in your car and then we had to look for parking for like 10 minutes. But anyway, so we go into this place, and this is the first time in a good while that I met up with our friendly neighborhood bartender after like a year. Actually, the day I told you, the thing I told you about.
We need to reach out to him about coming on the show. You know, what happened with that?
He's busy, bro. He doesn't respond to me on Instagram,
God.
so I got to reach out on Snapchat again. But then, like, when I did reach out to him the one time, it was kind of like a game of telephone trying to get him to like actually respond. And then by the time we were ready to record, he was like, yeah, sorry, I've been busy. And he didn't really follow up after that. We had like a 3-day streak, and then that was kind of it.
Bruh.
Yeah. But anyway.
We just got to get him as soon as he says I'm free to this day. You know, we just hop on, wait for him.
See, there was one point where he basically said, I'm never free, basically. So I was like, okay, forget it. But then he said, no, I'm free on these days. But then he's also doing shit with other people too. So I don't know. He's a busy lad. Yeah. Either way, the day that I said I woke up to go to work and I was still spinning, basically, I had gone to the other place that he's at now. So there is kind of a pattern here. He did not tell us to stop at that point, though. So here's what happened. Are you sure we didn't tell the story before, by the way?
We might have. I don't know if we told the whole thing.
All right. Well, either way, you're getting the unabridged version now.
Yeah.
So we walk in. The security patted us down pretty poorly. This is also a weird day because I walked in with shorts, which I had never done in one of these clubs before, like gym shorts. But they let me in, so I guess there's really not a dress code.
Well, I've went to a club with gym shorts. I mean, they had like a beach party night, but you know, regardless.
Yeah, that's a bit different.
These weren't beach shorts. These were like just cotton shorts. They were like, I mean, they didn't say anything.
I guess they don't get paid enough to care.
Yeah.
That was such a nice club too, bro. That's such a shame that it's not that kind of club anymore.
That kind of club.
Yeah. Such a downgrade.
But did they reopen?
That's a good question to find out. Either way, we went in and immediately. No, I remember I walked up to him and he was like, "What's up, fellas? What do you guys want?" And then after like a second of like lag, he's like, "Oh wait, no way, that's you," because I knew this guy from high school, and we kind of only saw each other every like once a year at this point.
Yeah.
Basically, only in the setting because he was always hopping around from bar to bar, and I was going to these places. And he compliments my physique, no homo. I remember that specifically. I'm piecing this together because I only remember so much of this. So any detail I'm throwing in was probably important. So we kind of just stand around this area, and they had a happy hour. So we were getting drinks. Basically, we were talking to him, and he was kind of doing the thing that he did last time, where he's just kind of refilling our drinks over and over. Not as quickly because he was still kind of feeling us out. Feeling us out. Pause on how much we could take. And then I remember at one point the free drinks stopped, and then we started paying for the drinks. And I think you stopped after like what was it, like 8 of them?
Somewhat, yeah, something like that.
Like 8 or 7, like that. And you stopped. I didn't. I kept going. And then at one point I went into the bathroom, and they have these people that like sell mints, sell like floss and shit like that, monitor the bathroom, clean stuff, give you soap and stuff when you're washing your hands. And
you think those people ever get thrown up on?
I really hope not. That would suck. I'd be really pissed. And you can't do anything about it either, because then you're aggressing against the clientele, and I'm sure the boss doesn't like that. The boss,
you gotta be like, security, send this nigga to the penis explosion chamber.
Yeah, you got to give him that Shark Boy and Lava Girl treatment.
Yeah.
Anyway, after several drinks in, I'm getting really social with this guy that I kept seeing in the bathroom.
No. What the fuck?
Yeah, not the best way to phrase that, but he was like one of the bathroom guys that hands you the like soap and shit like that and sells stuff on the side. And I'm like getting more conversational. We'll put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but I started asking him about his job, and it basically got to the point where I kind of like showing interest in potentially doing it, because at this point I was without money, but the money wasn't an issue yet. Anyway, and so I was like talking to him. He's like, yeah, don't even worry. I can hook you up with this job if you're really into it. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'll look into it. And this came back to haunt me later on, because every time I saw him in the other places, he'd be like, oh yeah, are you down for this? And I was like, maybe. But anyway, after a while, and I think I remember counting up to like 15 or 14 at this point of like the full like paid for drinks, our friendly bartender's like, okay, yeah, you guys need to stop.
Well, before this, you were like, how am I handling this? It must be all that yogurt I'm eating.
I did say that, didn't I?
Yeah.
That was great.
You're like, man, I just eat so much yogurt. I can take this.
Hey, the yogurt mail technique works. Probably. I didn't have yogurt that morning. That might have been it. Because I was at your place. Flaw. Yeah. Either way. So I said that. And then after like 14 total drinks, I think it was, or 15 total drinks, one of the two, bartender's like, yeah, I'm going to have to cut you off. You've had way too much. And I'm like, come on, bro. One for the homies. He's like, no, I can't do that. And I'm like, all right, how much of a tip do I have to pay you to get me to make another one? It's like, well, if you do like 50% tip, I'd probably do it. I'm like, bet, you got it. So I pay it. And then I instantly drain that drink. And I'm like, all right, what about now? And he's like, no. So then
it's like pouring it down the sink.
Exactly. And then what we did was, this place had like 4 or 5 different bars. But we'd been like,
it was, well, okay, so there were like 2 long ones, or maybe like 2 or no, it was 2 long ones, but like one of them was like so long that you could have probably even went to the other guy and he wouldn't have necessarily noticed. But like, also there was an outdoor one where it was like, I mean, that one you could pretty much see across it. It wasn't as big.
Yeah. So there's like an outside area, and after I got cut off the second time for real, I just went out to the outside bar and ordered. I think I ordered a shot or something like that. It was something like really strong. I remember that. And
no, I remember a full-size drink. How many drinks did you order outside?
I think it was like 2 or 3.
Man.
I was on autopilot by that point. I don't even know how that happened. But at one point, I'm getting like the last drink, and I think you just took it from me at one point.
Well, yeah. So the thing is, I was trying to take your card from you, so you couldn't keep buying them. But I think the thing was, is like you're just like, okay, I'll give you the card if I can get one more or something like that. I'm like, you know what? Like this is pretty much my only out here. So I'm like, you know what? Fine, something like that. And then, but then on the last one you were drinking, you were like, you said you needed to go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay. And then I just like drank the whole thing while you were gone.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Well, the thing is, like, I was trying to stop you from drinking more, so I just chugged it.
Damn.
Yeah, see, you didn't notice because you were fucking plastered. You didn't even know somebody drank your drink.
Yo, so what did we do after that? Because after that point, I only remember
Well, now let me tell you something real quick about this, like this experience here. It was you were at some point, you know, in this drunkenness. You know, it wasn't this far in, but it was earlier on. We were outdoors, but you were still more drunk than I was. There was this girl that came up to us from.
I
Where was
remember
she
that.
from? She was like from Boston or something. I don't even
Yeah, it was
remember.
Boston.
Anyway, we start having this like little conversational thing, but like she was like on your side, on one side of you, I was on the other side. I was like talking over you, like literally over. And like, but eventually the conversation like starts, you know, like the problem is I'm trying to get to her while you're still in between us. And I mean, you were a little bit in it, but like you were just, I could tell you were out of it. It's all like, man, you know, what do I even do at this point? Like, I'm like, I don't even know what to do from here. And she's like, yeah, it was nice meeting you guys. I'm like, fuck, you know, I if only I were on the other side, I probably would have been able to fix
Isn't that
this.
a Seinfeld thing?
Exactly. You know, like, well, you want somebody on a certain side of you, you know, because you need you can't make a move from the left or from the right. Like you have a side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on your. Oh, that's not pause. I was blocking your side.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now, what is your side? Do you have a side? Can you make a move from a certain side?
I think left would probably be preferable.
That she's on the left. You know, I don't know. Let me think about it. I'm trying to visualize it. I'm trying to visualize it.
Because you want the dominant hand to be the one that's not on her side, is my thought process.
I see. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. I think I do like the left side as well. All right, but you know, we're getting a little off track here.
Yeah. So after that happened, I came back from the bathroom. I don't know what happened. What happened?
Oh yeah. So
like once we get in the car, I remember, but after like
right. So what we were doing is like basically we were just going straight to IHOP, pretty much.
No. I mean, was like, it not in the bar?
Like, what did we do from after that point? Yeah, pretty much.
Because I remember we left and we said said bye to our bartender guy because they were closing.
Yeah, but I think I had made one last bathroom trip or something like that, and then that's around the time they were closing anyway.
It's like, if I can give you a visual here, the only thing I remember from that point on is like, have you ever seen that movie Memento? Or I've actually never seen that movie, so I don't know why I'm bringing this up. But basically, I have like a still image of his like white shit, whatever his name is.
I didn't say last name. Back to this part.
I don't think it matters. That's the first name. Yeah, that's whatever. Right. Our bartender fellow just saying bye to us. I remember that, and I remember like the light reflecting on the feet or the like legs going towards the door because everybody was like leaving all at once. And that's all I remember. And somehow we ended up in your car. Then I regained consciousness.
That was just walking to the car.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
How far did I park? That was the night that we parked pretty far because there was this place. Oh, I can't say what the thing was. But anyway, yeah, no, we were making this joke about the name of it. And so I remember now that it was actually
Yo, wait. Type it in the chat.
It wasn't even that like, you know, specific, but I'll hold on. I don't even know if you remember it.
I probably wouldn't.
I can barely even see in here. I have like a bunch of like I have like no blue light in this room basically.
Oh.
You don't remember this?
No.
See, that's the thing, because we were making a joke about that name when we first got there, but you don't even remember that because of how plastered you got. You pretty much, that detail just got wiped.
Wait, we were making a joke about it after we left?
No, before.
Oh.
Before we went in. Like, but as we parked, yeah, I know. You're having like, you know, you had like several parts of your mind just erased there. You know, but basically, point being, you know, we actually had to make quite the trek back.
It's like a 10-minute walk, right?
Yeah, something like that. It didn't feel too long, honestly, looking back at it, but yeah, it did take a bit to actually get back. I could tell you were fucked at this point. And I was like, okay, well, what do we do now? And so basically I had just gotten back onto the interstate and I was like, well, shit, man, we need to get you something to eat or something. I think that's what was going through my mind. Basically I was wondering if I had to lower the window or not. So I'm like, shit, is he good?
I do remember that.
Point being, did I actually lower the window?
I think you did at one point.
Yeah, makes sense. But anyway, we pull into the IHOP. But from that point, there's just like, pretty much. You want me to tell the whole thing or what?
Yeah, you might as well take it from
Well, anyway, point being, we pull into the IHOP. Did we go in first? I can't even remember.
No, we didn't. We didn't even get that far.
Somebody went in. Oh,
you went in after the fact.
Exactly. I remember now. So basically I had the door open. You were just sitting in the passenger seat. I was like, dude, hey, wake up. Because you were like in and out, man, in and out. And I was just like, come on, wake up. Because I'm like, look, like if you're gonna throw up, like I don't want you to throw up first of all in the car, but also, you could be leaned back. That's not really good to throw up in that position, So
it's not.
That could be a fatal blow there. So basically I was just keeping to try and wake you up. And every time I would be like, hey, dude. And you'd be like, what? Huh? I'll be like, hey, so, look, like, and so you remember, we probably mentioned that. That's probably where we mentioned it from, but the Buford video where it was like, the guy's like, so anyway, the thing in Pennsylvania in 1847, whatever, it's like, and then the dog's falling asleep. He's like, hey, Buford. And then the dog just looks back up like disoriented. Yeah, it was exactly like that. And so do we want to get a visual of the Buford video in here?
I guess we could, yeah.
Yeah, let's get the Buford video. Hey, can you pull that link up for me while I talk? Because I kind of I'm not on the YouTube page, but basically, point being here, you were in and out of it, and so basically you were just. I mean, it wasn't incoherent talk or anything. We had like a few short like conversations, but nothing like substantive, honestly, because it was just kind of like just trying to keep you alert. Basically, you had talked about what was his name. I forgot what his name was. Jeez, I just remembered it, and it's like, how did it leave my mind like that? It was it was that black guy, the one that died.
Oh, Jimi Hendrix?
Yeah, exactly. I forgot his name. I don't know how I did that. Yeah, because you were mentioning Jimi Hendrix. You're like, man, don't let me do that. Don't let me do that. You know how he died, and you were basically explaining the death. You're like, don't let me do that. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to keep you up here.
There's a backstory behind that, actually. The first time I had gotten to that point, that was back in Spain with like Papa John. And I remember I knew I couldn't
Papa
late.
John.
Huh?
Docs and Papa John over here.
I didn't say anything. I'll like put like I don't know. It's been so long since I've actually edited one of these episodes. But
here you are admitting to the audience that you're just, it's raw content, guys. You're getting straight up everything that we say. No filtering.
Exactly
how it is. We're raw.
But,
pause.
Pause. When I had gotten to that point, and I don't even know how I got back to my apartment at that point, but it was pretty bad. I got to the point where I was still capable of knowing, I can't lay down. And I was talking to my buddy that I knew from high school, because it was like, the time difference and all that. So it was like late afternoon for over there in the US. So I'm like texting him, and I don't remember what we were talking about because it was pretty bad. And then I remember him mentioning like, oh shit, you're like that? Because I guess I told him. And he's like, yeah, don't pull a Jimi Hendrix. And I was like, oh shit, that's a thing that could happen. So I sat up and like listened to music for like an hour, and then finally gave up and laid down.
So we got our Buford video here.
Documents were in place. Buford, you listening? Now get this. That's when the subcommittee had to reallocate the funds.
Yeah, so basically exactly that, Anyway, point being, and then at one point, I mean, I guess you do get up, but pretty much you just start leaning over, and all I see is this like purple liquid, pretty much. I don't know what you ate specifically. I don't remember, but it was purple. It definitely was. Shish kebab. Well, it was that color. Yeah. And so basically then I had to go in the IHOP to get some like napkins and shit. And basically, but then I guess they didn't even really ask me about anything. They looked like they were just not waiting for anybody to come in. Honestly, it was kind of late. But anyway, I come back with those. What exactly did? Okay, I don't think we actually got back that late, did we? How did that? Oh wait, no, because yeah, we did. Right, that was when we like sat outside of the IHOP. I think we were about to go in, but then we ended up like sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I guess we moved out and moved to the bench outside of the IHOP, but it was like fucking. We stayed out until like 5 or 6 in the morning at that point, and I was like falling asleep on the bench. Yeah, I remember now. I was like, man, I need to make sure I'm staying up for us to get back.
I remember that was the day that we went to that gas station to get me a toothbrush.
Oh yeah, so that I can't remember exactly when the bench was versus that. I guess we went to the bench
I guess
first
that
just
was
to make
after
sure
that.
yeah, to make sure you weren't gonna like do anything else. Like there was no more shish kebab to come out. But then yeah, because you weren't gonna go home that night, so then we were like, all right, well we got to go get a toothbrush, And so basically, we walk all the way to like a gas station. I guess did they not have it there? Was that the problem or what? We had to go to another one, right? Because we went to the
Yeah.
first one. I thought they had it there. No, I think there was something else you had to get.
I
Or
think we had to
something.
like hit the crosswalk or something like that.
Is that it? Was
Something
it
like
that far
that.
away?
I
Oh,
guess so, because
damn.
that was basically
Yeah.
like a highway road, so you don't really want to be crossing that in that
Yeah.
condition.
Well, we could have gone the other way, and I don't think it would have been as far, was it? Was it just more suspicious to go the other way? Too many.
I don't fucking remember.
Too many teenagers of a certain origin genetically.
They do speed down those roads too, so if one of them it just happens to be passing by, that's it.
Yeah. But anyway, we go there. I guess we didn't go to the other gas station. We were just walking for a while to get to the crosswalk. But yeah, no, that was quite some time. That felt like quite some time there that we spent doing that. Not just the specific like walk, but just like from the time like leaving the club to actually getting back home. That was like hours.
Yeah, that took a while.
So looking back, would you have thought maybe I shouldn't take that many drinks?
I think about that just pretty much every time now.
Honestly, like the last time I went, because like I have only been out like a couple times in the recent like months. Like honestly, I can't remember the last time I had been out since that one time, the excursion with my other friend and you. We talked about it on the show. I can't really remember like having gone out except for 2 times, which I had gone with my one friend, the bro, and basically the first time it was all right. It wasn't anything heavy, but last time he's like, bro, I want to see you drunk. Like, and that was the time that I had gotten they cut me off at like 11:30 and they're like, oh, it's not free anymore. Right. But basically that night that was excessive. Honestly, I didn't I didn't throw up like immediately, but like it was probably like some 3 or 4 in the morning. I'd gotten out of bed because I'm like, yeah, I feel that feeling. I just go to the toilet and it wasn't immediate, but I'm like, yeah, I feel it. I know it's coming, and it did come. Eventually, because I'm like, I can tell. Yeah, do not come. I'm gonna come. That's how it worked. And I really think it was that last Angry Orchard that had pushed me over the edge.
Wait, so were you just kind of like one after the other type thing?
Yeah, on the actual free ones. Yep. It was just one. That was the quickest I'd probably sunk them. That was pretty quick. I was getting very cocky with myself.
Yeah, that's what happens. You always, it's always a confidence.
It's always when you because what they said to me in an engineering class I had in high school was that accidents don't really happen with the people that are new and they're just trying to learn everything. They're the most cautious people, but it's when you start getting too confident in your work that you like slip up, and something that you're so used to doing every single day just becomes something that like messes you up or just happens to be your death because you think you know it. You think you don't have to be like think about it as much. You're on autopilot, and there you go. You're screwed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should have known, sinking them that quick would cause some negative effects, especially after the fact. Like honestly, the last one I feel like was really the problem because I had already felt it after leaving, and by the time before even having that last one, I'm like, you know what? I feel pretty fucked up already. But then I just went for that Angry Orchard, and I don't even know why. I felt good. It felt good. I was texting that one girl I was talking about. I haven't hit her up since. The problem is, I could probably speak on that right now. She has this whole thing about she doesn't know what she's looking for, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't even want to start texting her after that. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't even like, because basically, she posts all these things about like, feeling a certain way about like, how these people are like, oh, like, not saying I'm lonely, but like they post these posts where it's like, this person's like thinking that. And then, but then at the same time, it's like, then you don't even want to like fix the issue. It's kind of just like, oh, well, I'll just go with the flow or whatever. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you?
She wants to have a period of whoredom.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's it.
That's usually what I think.
And it gave me some red flags. So I was like, you know what? I don't know about this. I just don't know about this. This don't seem right.
I don't really know what I want.
This don't seem right.
Myself.
Yeah, this don't seem right. So I was like, no. And so here we are again. Back to square one, if you will. Well, not really, because you learn things along the way. So you're not really at square one.
Yeah. Like I've gotten to the point too where I can't really justify in any way, shape, or form going that far into it anymore, because usually the taste isn't that great unless somebody decides to start selling Angry Orchards at their bar, which never happens for some reason.
Oh, you're talking about the alcohol. I thought we were on the other subject. Yeah.
No. I'm going back to the alcohol. I'm shifting back. We're regressing. Yeah.
Because who cares about the other stuff? We know whores are whores.
I mean, honestly, kind of, yeah.
We've established that.
I mean, if anything, you've like proven it with this anecdote right here.
I've proven it with many anecdotes, honestly, and not even just on this show, but in general. I mean, this show enough is probably proof enough, but even so, it's quite tragic, if you will.
Indeed. But yeah, unless somebody starts selling Angry Orchards like that at a cheap price, I don't know. I think like I'm gonna start like cutting it back, like a lot.
Well, I haven't even had anything since, So
I don't really do anything unless it's one of those nights.
I know.
To be honest.
Me too.
So I've gotten it down to a point where it's basically a rare occasion, maybe like once every season, basically.
Yeah, I feel like that's just how it has to be. It's otherwise you're really doing it too much. And, even if you're not like, poofinated or whatever, and it's not going to be, Buford, even if you're not, even if you're,
yo,
yeah. So anyway, even if you're not as poofinated and you're like in a healthier state and you have the ability to do it, the problem is I got sick after it. Like I got like a fever for a day, and it wasn't even the day after. I think it was just more so like a problem of like the immune system recovering. And then at the same time, there must've been something in my environment that actually spread to me. And so it wasn't really a problem of like actually having gotten sick directly from it, but it was more so a cause that essentially made me prone to being in that state for a period of time where like it was still in a weak spot, so like honestly, and that happened to me too when I was in DC, like literally right after I had a fever as well. And I know it's not like specifically like the actual like drinking of it, because it's not like it's happening like immediately after and I'm feeling ill. It's like it's just leaving me prone to something else. And so I think the problem is like, especially in these seasons where there's like more disease going around, you probably don't want to be doing that as much. And then also like, even so, like, I don't know, you probably don't want to be doing it. I mean, especially not every weekend, because like it's gonna, no matter what, it's like if you do it that frequently, it's gonna pose an issue for testosterone, and I mean honestly, like increase in estrogen. So I mean, really, hormonally speaking, even if you are in a healthy state, if you do it excessively, it's still gonna cause those issues.
I think if you're doing like maybe a drink or two every weekend is fine, but I mean, The reality is most people aren't doing that. So
that's the point. Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, I mean, if you are doing a drink or two, that first of all, that's so easy to metabolize. It's really not going to be much of an issue. You're not having this like high load of like endotoxins. So, I mean, you'll be all right. But if you're doing like, if you're going on like a excessive amount, like the free drink nights, yeah, you can't be doing that all the time.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. It really was last year. Like it was honestly so often that was going on.
That was happening like once a month.
Dude, honestly, even like somewhat more than that, like for a good amount of time.
No, actually, yeah, it was consecutive weeks sometimes. And it was 3 days in the week usually too.
Well, the 3 day ones I think were less frequent than like the 1 or 2 day ones.
Regardless.
Yeah.
A bit too much.
But the thing is, like, I feel like that was a miracle, honestly, the fact that, not in the sort of supernatural sense. I'm just saying, like, it was more miraculous in the sense that, like, you don't see this so often that we were able to withstand these conditions and just come out of it pretty all right. I mean, we were pretty good.
Yeah.
We were
built
champions.
different.
Yeah, we are truly built different.
But speaking of that, who isn't built different? Or well, no, I guess
OJ Simpson.
That's not what I was gonna say, but yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, the cancer said I didn't do it.
I didn't do nothing.
Wasn't me.
I saw some tweet in one of the like Discords or whatever that somebody sent where on his deathbed he confessed to it or something. I'm not sure how true that is.
No, I don't think so.
But he did do it.
He was in so much denial that there's no way he would have ever.
He gaslit himself.
Yeah, I believe so. You remember that one clip that went around a lot, even before his death, of the lady interviewing him, and she like asked him one time. He's like, "Okay, you better not ask me again after this." And then she's like, "Did you do it?" And he's like, "Nope." And then he's like, "Nope." And he just looks at the camera with like his face. But then she's like, "Later, OJ surprised me in my room with what he thought was a funny joke." And then he's just like at the door. He's like, and he's like his like knife, and he's like pointing it at her like up and down like a horror movie. Yeah, that was funny though. That was funny. I will give it to OJ.
Really funny.
That was hilarious. Now he was also on like the Full Send podcast, I believe it was, and basically they were asking him like, "Did you do it?" And he's like, "Look, I just want to get to another topic." They're like, "But come on, man, like you just you can say it." And he's like, "Nope, I'm not gonna say anything like that," something like that. And they posted that right after he died too. Like I guess like they reposted it from a show they did with him, which is funny. There were people like, "Oh, how are you doing this about this man? He just died. Like let him rest." It's like, well, he did kill a couple people, so.
Literally a couple.
Yeah.
Who is Full Send?
It's like the Nelk Boys, no? I thought that's the same one. That's like the Nelk Boys have the Full Send podcast. Oh, whoa.
Oh, those guys.
What? The Full Send what? I'm sorry.
What?
I believe there was some sort of claim made about what kind of long form content they have that it can't substantiate itself because this is the only podcast.
That is true. The Full Send video discography of long-term content. Long-form content.
Yeah, long-form content. Long-form content. Anyway, basically on their long-form content, they did have OJ before, and they reposted a clip from that. Anyway, I guess, there must have been something that you were saying as far as we were getting to a different topic as far as what is the new topic. I don't even know. Yeah, I guess you're just checked out. You know what, guys? Here's what
you're gonna love it.
Oh, so you are back. I was gonna give him a whole spiel about nothing.
All right, go ahead, do it.
Well, I don't even know what I was going to say. Now I'm lost. Actually, you know what? We'll say this here. So Greg earlier was talking about how he was eating a steak and Coca-Cola. And, important fact to think about here, if you're thinking about it, the calcium to phosphorus ratio is seriously lacking in a meal such as that. The problem is you actually do want to have more calcium, than phosphorus. It's very thermogenic, and also it's very supportive of the bone structure. If you have more phosphorus, I mean, you're going to kind of be screwing yourself over in a few ways. So, I mean, metabolically speaking, as far as like body structure speaking. So what you want to do if you're going to have a meal like that, you also want to make sure you're drinking plenty of milk. I'm talking plenty of milk, and keeping those ratios up. If you can't tolerate milk, I mean, first of all, that's a problem with you. That's not a problem with the milk. That's a problem with you. And you need to be fixing yourself because, humans should be able to digest lactose. Now, raw milk is probably going to be a lot easier for you, but A2 milk is also good because it doesn't have the A1 casein, which, is a genetic mutation of cows these days. So you don't want to be consuming that really as much. I'm not afraid of regular pasteurized homogeneous, even if it has the A1 and A2 casein. It's not like I'll avoid it like a plague. I'll still drink it, but I try to make sure when I'm drinking, is mostly just A2. I have some raw milk now for the first time. If I could get non-homogenized and unpasteurized and A2, if I could fill all those boxes, yes, I would get that over everything. But milk itself still has health benefits, and if you can tolerate, even if you don't have a lactose problem, if you can tolerate, anything presented by the milk itself because of the other things like the pasteurization and the I guess the pasteurization does have to do with the lactose, but the actual homogenization, which can present issues with having those the fats mixed to like such a small level. But anyway, if you don't have issues with that, it should be good. But basically my point being is that if you can't really tolerate milk right at the moment, what you can do is take some eggshells, you bake them, you grind them. You don't want them to be like too sandy, but you also don't want them, you still want them fine, but you don't want them to be like a little literal sand. But you take that and you can actually essentially supplement your calcium intake with that. And so basically, you don't, if for some reason you can't even, I mean, milk is, compared to a lot of things, you can get milk. I mean, like as far as affordability goes, but if you really can't, I mean, at least the eggshells are an option, just depending on your availability of them. So, I mean, there you go. If you'd like to have a good, healthy ratio between calcium and phosphorus, do that. I know there was also a discussion as far as you being able to supplement like K2 and vitamin D3, which are also good to take. I take K2 because I also take aspirin, so I'm making sure that I'm not depleting the K2. And my milk has D3 anyway, and I get out in the sun, so I'm getting vitamin D. So, it's all good.
That was a very impressive monologue.
Well, I had to give something to the audience. I couldn't leave them high and dry.
You left them moist with the milk.
Yes, low and moist, covered in milk,
Dripping in milk.
So what was this other discussion point you would wanted to discuss?
So, I don't know if you saw it. I posted it in that one server we're in. That's most active, or well, second most active? Doesn't matter. It's in a server we're in.
The woman server?
No, not. I mean, that is what it is, basically. Everybody in there acts a certain way that I would not consider masculine. Either way. Well, except for that. Well, I don't know. I like the Turkish guy in there. He's all right. Although he gets on me for making the jokes about cockroaches. He's a fan of pests, But anyway, I posted this video of a debate between Matt Dillahunty, who you brought up beforehand, I believe,
yes,
and a debate against Mr. Andrew Wilson, up-and-coming debate god. Did you watch that?
I had not yet. I saw it, and I don't know. I was either out or it had been late already, and I'm like, I need to get to it later. I think I was already out. I think because I was out most yesterday.
All right. I'm going to spoil it. You should still watch it, though, because it's really funny. So the two of them had convened to basically debate the, I guess, validity of what Dillahunty called secular humanism, which took the place of basically atheistic ethics, which, whether or not I agree with that, I don't. We'll just leave it there. That's what he was
the other
arguing
person's
for.
Position?
Mr. Andrew Wilson, who I'm very familiar with, actually, as I've been diving deep into his repertoire and that kind of content of like debating people. He's an Eastern Orthodox Christian, so he was arguing for the validity of Christian ethics. And just a disclaimer, I do tend to agree with a lot of his arguments on things, just not that in particular issue. But even then, still quite the ferocious logician. Is that a word?
Logician.
Logician. Yeah, there we go. That's not a word at all, but I'm going to use it. It sounds better. So what happened is the moderator, he gave the introduction, and then each candidate was able to give their opening statement. And Dillahunty went first. He was talking, and it was weird too, his opening statement. It started off really good, and then it was like, oh, you're kind of going down a route I'm not entirely for. But I'm always anxious to hear, not anxious, dripping with enthusiasm to hear what someone with such a great repertoire of debating skills would have to say to defend something that's indefensible, which is, not to say, well, I mean, it's not great, but religion in the face of someone that actually knows something. But Dillahunty, he gave such an easy target. And his opening statement, he started talking about how Christianity is oppressive, Christianity did this, that, and the other, Christianity doesn't allow you to be free, which for the most part is all true. But then he starts harking down on this one guy that wanted to make laws about gay people or whatever. He was saying stuff about like, we need to mandate gay conversion therapy and stuff like that. He was saying it doesn't work, which it doesn't, by the way. Stuff like that. And that kind of became a crux part of his introductory statement. So then, once Mr. Andrew Wilson had his turn to begin his opening statement, he basically said, he started with this, he does this a lot too, and it's really impressive in my opinion, where he won't even argue the against the whole was God real or not thing. He basically said, regardless if there is a God or not, I think that under Christian ethics, we have a better foundation for a functioning society, the good of humanity, and human flourishing, which is kind of the undertone of both of their arguments, which was better for human flourishing, than the secular humanist ideal. And basically what he did was he started rattling off the points that he thought were horrendous, disagreeing with, the prevalence of corn, the weird kind of sexual liberation that occurred after a certain point in history, and specifically targeting the ideals of the LGBT, specifically T. And then what happened after he gave this, he used what I thought was pretty accurate terminology, to be honest. I'm not going to say what it was now that I said it was accurate, but basically, he was not very cordial, I guess you could say. I wouldn't say it was ad hominem, though. It was more just him kind of expressing what he thought was wrong with the ideals. And Dillahunty did something I did not expect, especially considering he is, what was that one show called? Atheist Experience? Yeah. Where he basically clowns on Christians the entire time in a very sarcastic, pretty condescending way, I'd say, even though I don't disagree with a lot of the points he would have raised in that context. But he was not having it. He was not having it at all. He got up and left after saying, I'm not going to sit here and take this kind of bad faith argument from somebody that wasn't here to debate the topic, which he was, because, and he said he was coming here for like an agenda to spread or whatever. And then he got up and left the debate before the open conversation portion happened. And then he called Mr. Wilson a jackass. So,
Wait,
Mr.
how long was this?
The whole video, it's like an hour, but the part that I'm describing, I think it was like the first 20 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah. So as he's leaving, since he called Mr. Wilson a jackass, Mr. Wilson was like, whoa, you're just going to throw an ad hom like that? Okay. And then as he's leaving, he says, all right, well, you and your husband have a nice night. And I was wondering, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Because he actually heard that as well. Like the Muslim guy that he was debating had called his the person he's with, his boyfriend.
Yeah, did you look into that at all?
I didn't, but honestly, I should have, because it was a little there was a bell ringing in my head. Like, wait a minute, why would he say that?
Yeah. So what happened was I heard that, and there's like a oh or whatever from like the audience, and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And he even brought up the point too, Andrew Wilson. He was like, okay, well, why are you offended? What's there to be offended about if I'm telling a lie? And then I was like, wait, what's going on here? So I looked up on a search engine. It wasn't Google, but it doesn't really matter. I looked it up and I found this one Catholic guy that was describing the situation, because usually in these debates over religion, it's usually the religious person that comes in as like a meek servant of God, humble, oh, well, I'm just trying to help you type thing. And the atheist is the more aggressive, condescending one. But in this situation, it got flipped on his head, and that's kind of what he was highlighting here. And it turns out this guy's actually quite the debater himself in these kinds of fields. He was on like whatever or something like that. He showed in a clip, but he was breaking down what was happening. And what he said was the reason why that comment that Andrew Wilson made was so offensive is because Matt Dillahunty is dating a guy that wants to pretend he's not a guy.
Yeah, I had kind of been suspicious after, because I honestly thought maybe like the guy that he was debating, what was that guy's name? It was like the Muslim skeptic. His name was like Daniel. Now this guy supports the Muslim supports some odd things to do with 4-year-olds, basically. If they have entered a early puberty, he thinks it's okay for them to engage in certain acts with adult men, which I was like, what the hell is this? This guy's crazy. But basically, point being is he just had said like your boyfriend. I thought, okay, well, it's possible he's just trying to call Matt gay, because it's like, oh, well, he's just trying to say like basically like atheists are gay or something like that, or maybe like like basically because I know they had argued about like actual well, I don't know. I think Matt had brought up the actual point of like, homosexuality, like whether or not it's like allowed, like in the first place, I believe. So I was sort of thinking, okay, well, maybe he's just trying to like hurl like some mud at him about that. Like, oh, well, he's like, upset that Matt even thinks it's okay to, for that to be the case. He's like, oh, well, this must be proof. I can't really say that in this debate because that won't necessarily be taken the right way, but I can sort of hurl this insult at him to basically say, well, because he even said to Matt, he's like, oh, well, if it's not like, or it was, I was confused. He's like, oh, I was genuinely confused. Like, what, you think it's a problem to be gay or something? He was trying to like turn it on him. Point being is that basically I had thought, okay, well, maybe that was a tactic to sort of get across the point that like he thinks that homosexuality, because it's like depraved or whatever, that in his view, that the point here being would be like, okay, well, let me see if I can upset him with this insult. So I thought maybe that's a possibility. Whereas the other possibility is that Matt is dating a, what you had said.
Yeah. So that was quite interesting because I was wondering, I remember bringing this up too. How does somebody that is an atheist in the modern age retain a form of objective law or objective ethics, I guess you could say? And it seems that's just not the case. Although he did call it solipsis, but it seems he's not against skepticism.
Yeah, well, he's not against skepticism, though. I mean, the thing is, like, he had, like, in a discussion with Jordan Peterson, at least proven that, like, at least as a foundation, he's able to get to sort of similar conclusions that I would, propose when it comes to, how you necessarily get to like caring about your like well-being, for instance. That's sort of like a foundation he says he works off of as well. But then, obviously getting down the line, there's obviously some sort of disconnection in conclusions as far as, how you're living your life. But, Matt, he has a lot of good videos as far as how he's debating, these religious people. And I don't know. I think there might be some issues in his personal life, possibly. But overall, like it's not really affecting my enjoyment of the content itself, like from what he has attacked them on, because that hasn't really been a point of discussion a lot of the time. Now it is like he does have a lot of lip cuck views though. So honestly, that every time he brings those up, I just kind of roll my eyes.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know about that because I had only seen the like short clips that were sent in the servers. So I figured, oh, okay, this is weird. But okay, I'll take it. But yeah, it seems I was mistaken. So what happens after this?
How apparent is it that this is a biological sort of
He's one of us, a biological one of us.
No, I mean how apparent does it look when you look at this individual? Like what's the passing rate on this one?
So I didn't look it up because quite honestly, I'd rather not.
You don't even want to see.
No, but the Catholic guy, he obviously gave visual aids when he was talking about the situation.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Say that again?
The Catholic guy gave visual aids when he was talking about the situation.
Oh, yeah, I had heard AIDS, and I was like, what? I was like, what'd you say?
No. So he basically showed, like, because this is somebody that is in a few of his videos. So basically all I was seeing was the person in like thumbnails and shit. So those could be highly edited. But I'm not gonna lie, it was getting convincing.
Damn. So that's why you did it.
I was horrifying.
That's why he did it.
I was horrified. I was like, wait, this is bad. This is not good. I can't let this be happening to me. Because the other thing I was thinking is maybe he just didn't know
at first.
Yeah, but then even if that's the case, he eventually had to know. And then, yeah.
So you're saying basically like, the fact that he didn't reject it after is sort of like, well, I mean, obviously we're making a statement about kind of, what one should see themselves doing maybe. But point being here is that you're thinking even if he didn't know, I'm thinking like his lib cuck views probably wouldn't let him, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he didn't know at first, but then even if he can't like backtrack on it, you know what I'm saying? So like he's looking at this and he's like, well, if I do this, all these things I said about people identifying the way they want to, that kind of goes down the gutter. Cause then I seriously am like proposing that I have a problem with it. Well, now, I guess I'm gonna have to stay doing this.
Oh my God. Okay. So I went back to his fucking Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, I went back to his Wikipedia to see because I thought it said he was married to somebody. I'm not. Yeah, here it is. Beth Presswood.
He was.
It seems like she's like an actual
Yeah.
she. So
Yeah.
that's where I was confused. I'm like, oh wait, did he just close out his ass? But as I'm going through this Wikipedia, I see at the bottom of his biography section it says Dillahunty describes himself as a feminist. He is one of the subjects of the documentary film My Weekend Atheism by Dr. John and Mission Control. That I don't know why I read that part. That was kind of unnecessary. I don't know what that had to do with anything, but it says he's a feminist. Then after that, it says he is also a magician.
What?
Yeah. So I don't know. Do they mean like street magician type thing, or do they mean like Wiccan magician?
Oh, that's who knows?
I think it's a street one. Yeah. So that's not as bad, but
no, he always talks about not believing in anything supernatural. So I don't think he'd be any sort of like, thinking magic's real or something.
His actions are not really conforming with that.
Well, anyway, point being is, I would think he's the street magician, but even so, that's a little odd. I just wouldn't peg him as one. Well, he pegs himself, but well, he doesn't peg himself. His girlfriend does, but his girlfriend.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, to tie up the story, after this happens, and it happens really early on, and I thought it was weird too when I saw that the runtime was only an hour, and it was these two people that I would have thought would have like a ton to say about this particular subject in particular. And then like the 20-minute mark hits, and I'm like, oh wait, it's done. What the fuck's gonna happen now?
Does he come back?
No, he just left.
What's the rest of the 40 minutes? What is that?
It's the crowd attacking Andrew Wilson for being mean, basically.
For 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Is there like question and answer, or is it just nonsense?
It's supposed to be Q&A. They basically just like throw shit at him. And
but is there actual dialogue, or is it just a bunch of nonsense for 40 minutes? Like, is it incoherent?
No, it's coherent.
Okay. So there's actually like a point in watching it.
It's really funny because they always bring this up too. And I actually recently found this out because I'm like looking into I'm trying to prove somebody wrong in the Christian thing. So I'm looking into the source material. But and one of the sources on this is actually Andrew Wilson, because he's got quite the knowledge of the Bible. And he's not like one of those modern Christians where it's like, well, Jesus wouldn't tell me that it's bad to be a whore online. He would say, I love all, like that kind of bullshit. He constantly goes after that shit. And somebody brought that up too. Somebody's like, do you think Jesus would have acted the way you just did? And he's like, yeah, I think Jesus would want me to tell the truth. That was so fucking based. But stuff like that. The one moderator too was like, as a Christian, I'm really appalled by the way you were behaving and all that. And I thought it was all bullshit. It was really fucking stupid. Like, he basically just gave his point and focused in on the LGBT thing because Matt Dillahunty brought it up to begin with. And then he got pissed off because he fought back and said that, hey, maybe there's something wrong with just kind of accepting this without any basis because it's the nice thing to do. And he didn't actually throw an actual insult at Dillahunty, a personal insult, until after Dillahunty called him a jackass.
Yeah.
So it's like, he didn't really do anything wrong. People just didn't like the way he was talking, which is a common thing. But I think there's actually most of the people that I like in terms of like debating and stuff like that, they don't really give a shit about how they appear in regards to being nice or anything like that. It's kind of just what it is. If you don't like it, it's whatever.
Dillahunty has engaged with like views that he views as abhorrent before. Like, for example, slavery is one that he always pulls out, like Exodus and stuff on, where he's like, Exodus 21, look at what this says. Like, this literally gives out rules for like owning slaves. He even talked about like, the whole like women, like, he doesn't like the Bible doesn't view them as equal and stuff. Like, he's talked about these kinds of things. He's engaged with things that he said like he thinks are sort of morally abhorrent, or he finds to be wrong when other people are bringing them up. But it's funny that he just, for this one, gets up and leaves. Like, this is a threshold for him above all else. Now, is that because he doesn't necessarily have arguments against it? And so to him, it's just like, well, now I'm going to have to admit that all I'm doing is just basically saying it because it's the nice thing to do. And if I stay here, then I'm going to make a little bit of a fool of myself if I keep doing that.
I think it's literally just emotional overreaction. I don't think he even thought that far ahead. Like, you could tell he was angry and upset.
So you think, why is it this that emotionally triggers him to that extent?
Because he's banging a dude.
Because even with the Daniel one, like Daniel said, your boyfriend, and he didn't walk out when he said that.
I don't know. See, here's the thing. I will say Andrew Wilson has a has a tendency to really cut deep with his words, which is something I like to do myself. So, and I don't think it's necessarily wrong to do that, especially if your goal is to undermine, or not even undermine, just show the invalidity of an opponent's views. Even like I was watching some like other thing that he was on where he basically said he doesn't believe that there's any real point in just kind of preaching to people. You have to first undercut the views they have already and then instill it, which is what happened with me when it became to like going the other way around and actually becoming an atheist. You got to cut it out from under them and then show them what the actual valid like ethics actually are. So in order to do that, you have to be really aggressive. And the book that I was reading that convinced me of that was incredibly aggressive towards Christians, ironically enough. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that method. But again, I don't really know why he got that upset about that, especially when it wasn't even personal to begin with. He just basically confronted each of the points that he laid out in his entry statement. And then Dillahunty took it as a personal attack for some reason. So I don't know.
So what? Dillahunty proposes a point and then expects that it's just like an agreement, even though he's speaking to somebody that is orthodox. And it's like, obviously that, them specifically, of even out of a lot of other Christians, you'll be able to tell, well, there are obviously going to be certain views on that, which don't align with what you're saying.
And like, here's the thing too. It's not like he was like advocating for any kind of like action, a violent action against this kind of thing either. Like, he even laid out in his like opening statement about like a politician that wanted to like force this, that, and the other. So you bring it up as a point, but you're not able to confront the point, even in a softer version of it. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, had he proposed like laws about it or something?
No, he didn't even make any prescriptions. He just said, yeah, no, I think this is wrong. I think this goes against reality. I think he did say like that it's lunacy to kind of like have these kind of views, that it's just like accept it basically based on something that is his main point basically was that under Dillahunty's point of view, you basically have moral relativism. So there's no reason for him to actually attack Christianity, because under that framework, his view is just as valid as Dillahunty's, which is true. So, but then he went out point by point and saying how personally he believes that this, that, and the other point are destructive towards society, and they have these kinds of effects that are negative, but he upholds them as good for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know. That's unfortunate. I have to watch that, honestly. Just
it was so funny. Like at first I was like, oh man, I can't wait to watch this. This is going to be such a great debate. I really wonder who's going to come on top of this. Because on one hand, I'm an atheist. So, I mean, yeah. But on the other hand, Wilson. So, but
does he have any other debates with people that are atheists?
Wilson? Yeah, I was watching one earlier today.
He's got ones.
I haven't finished it today.
Oh, well, who was coming out on top in that one?
So far it was him. Because like,
so does he only really argue from like the point of the ethics themselves rather than any sort of validity of God?
Usually, yeah. Because I don't think there's any way you can actually win on that front.
Yeah.
Because he usually, like he says, he usually gives in, he's like, all right, I will grant your worldview that maybe God doesn't exist, but the ethics themselves are better than your ethics. And most of the time, he's kind of right. Because usually the atheists he confronts happen to be these new age, I mean, it doesn't happen to be, they're the norm now. The new age, nothing is real, you can't prove anything, just let people be happy type of bullshit.
Yeah.
So I would like to see, if we ever get up there, it'd be interesting to see if I could get like a debate with him, because I wouldn't even be able to do that. But at the same time, I don't know if I want to do that, because this guy's rough.
You don't think you could take him?
I don't know if I could. Like, I don't think he could convince me of anything. But in terms of optics and just sheer knowledge about certain topics, if it's like the existence of God, that's pretty easy. I don't know if I could lose on that. Yeah. But like other stuff, like I'm not exactly sure. Like in like specific issues, he might just be more knowledgeable than me, and that's the issue. Even if it philosophically doesn't line up, the optics of him knowing more would put you in a disadvantage.
Right.
But yeah, he has a whole channel, The Crucible, where he debates people all the time. He debated like the Destiny side chicks, Jasmine Jafar, the lawyer, the one Arab girl. That one, you remember that one showing of that long form content where they had Destiny, He Who Shall Not Be Named, the John Zerka, and then like the one girl next to him who was of a certain background that He Who Shall Not Be Named criticizes a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that girl. He had a debate with that girl too. Over.
Really?
No, actually, it wasn't a debate. It was supposed to be an interview hosted by her, and then she turned it into like a ambush attack, and then he just kind of won anyway.
Oh, this guy looks familiar. Yeah, I know who this is. I don't know. I think I heard him say some out of pocket shit on that one show. Not this one that you're talking about. Like the one that he had, the one that him and both that girl will probably have been on before. Because I know you were saying he was on that long form content channel.
The one in
on the West Coast.
West
Coast. I've seen his face. Like that's where I remember it from. Assuming this is the same, because I saw him on the thumbnail just looking him up. I was trying to remember if it was that guy or not. But the thing is, like, I can't remember exactly what he had said. Was he the one that had said that basically like it's your responsibility to populate the planet, and then like was he the one that had said that like basically you have like a duty to reproduce? So even if you're like the one of the last people, like basically like it's justified to like basically make people have sex to reproduce or to repopulate. I think he was that one. I'm not sure.
I don't recall him saying that, but it could have just been I haven't seen that particular clip. But I don't think that's contrary to what he would have believed necessarily. So yeah, it might have been that kind of take. So I don't know.
I don't know if that was I think it was that guy specifically. I just can't remember. I would have to find it, and I think I only saw it on like Twitter.
Damn. You don't save your tweets, bro?
Yeah, I don't save everything I come across.
You would think they would like design like a recently viewed thing. I know it'd be hard since it's like a scrolling type platform, but
no, it's been a while since I've seen this.
I've lost so many things on Instagram just because I didn't save or like it, and I can't find it anymore. But yeah, actually, while I was going into this, one of the like complaints that I had with Catholicism is that they say basically the act of reproduction is basically solely for the purpose of reproduction. And then I heard him saying in one video or whatever, that's not even the case in his religion. I was like, wait a minute, actually? And I looked it up, and it seems to be varied because the Orthodox Church is so decentralized. But it seems like it's fine to just kind of go wild as long as you're married.
So why does that one guy we know say he only plans on doing it just for the children and not even outside of that at all?
I don't know why anybody would have that point of view.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a little questionable as far as your.
Does the other guy have that view too?
Well, he's not consistent with it if that's the case, because he was telling that other guy was telling us he had like been on a stretch of not doing it, but then he did it. And that sounded like prior to figuring things out with as far as what status you are in a marriage,
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We don't know for sure, but it just sounded a little questionable.
It could be that he's imposing something outside of the religion onto the religion, or imposing like a Protestant worldview onto that. Because I think he said he used to be Protestant, right?
Perhaps, I don't know.
But I looked it up. It seems like, and it even like the more conservative ones seem to say that at the very least, if you're married, it's not the worst thing in the world if you do it just for pleasure.
I thought everything was yes or no.
Not entirely, apparently. Like the other argument for it is that it's supposed to bond a couple, which isn't incorrect.
Yeah.
So I guess they're not as bad as the Roman Catholics.
Are the Catholics of that position that you should only do it for that?
They kind of weasel their way out of it with modern interpretations because they know.
Oh, well, they do that for everything.
Yeah, but officially they're not. They're supposed to only do it for reproduction. Yeah,
that's pretty cucked.
Even Well, I mean, it was a cuck that wrote it. Like, the thing about that church in particular is, if you go solely off of the actual canon text, the Bible, which, I mean, even that is kind of hand selected anyway, so you can't really say that's entirely accurate everything. But even if you go just off of that, a lot of the things that are said to be true aren't necessarily true from the point of view of a Catholic. So, like, the whole sex is evil thing comes from St. Augustine. And basically, this guy was just, you just fucking hated reality. You can't take any joy out of anything. He was the one that implemented, like, the ultra altruistic kind of part of Christianity, even though it's already implicit. And he was the one that said that having sex or any kind of form of pleasure in life is absolutely evil, and you need to suppress it at all costs.
Jeez, what was he, Kellogg? I
mean, basically.
He's the Kellogg.
There was one when I was watching the philosophical course that Mr.
Beast.
Yeah, Mr. Beast was having.
You just paused for too long. I had to.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a way not to give his name away, but the woman server, that group of people, they have like a lecture series on philosophy, and this is actually one of the good ones. The direct heir to that person, and he was hosting the lectures. He was talking about an anecdote of I think it was
the direct heir.
Well, like an intellectual heir, not a like literal blood heir. Like she died, and he got everything basically.
Oh.
He's like the chief of it now.
Yeah, I understand now that you said that.
But then he gave it up.
Now that we included she and he, now I got it.
Yeah. Anyway, he was talking about when he was talking about the.
You're talking about the AOO.
What? What? I mean, yes.
Okay.
Okay, whatever. I'm gonna have to edit it out. Maybe, I don't know.
It's a South Park joke. Come on.
Is it?
Yeah, Cartman says that. Oh, Kyle.
Oh yeah. The J.
Yeah.
Where's I going to that? But he gives an anecdote of, I think it was Saint Francis, where whenever he'd get a sexual urge, he would throw himself naked into a pile of snow so as to numb himself from it.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
and then there's stress levels on that.
Another one where he was like, anytime he found any pleasure from food, he would start drinking dirty laundry water.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, I've found pleasure from food. I don't inhibit my my sensors.
Yeah. So
I let myself bask in the glory of finding a good meal that makes me feel nice. It's usually sugar. Anything sweet.
Sugar's good. I keep trying to get my guy to like stop chastising sugar, but I don't know. Maybe the guy that made steaks.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go by the actual book itself, and I actually did this when I was going down a deep dive.
Wait, he's not the guy going bald, is he?
No.
Okay, just asking.
I mentioned the guy that was going bald.
Yeah, you mentioned a guy that was going bald, and you were giving advice on how to do it, and he was basically not accepting it. He just thought, oh, it's genetic. I had a friend actually recently tell me that he's noticing a little bit of pushback. I'm gonna have to write him like a whole PDF on this because I actually have a lot of the information. I'm like, I was just spitting it at him on the phone call. I'm like, dude, I just need to make you a fucking document for you to look at.
I mean, the one meme, or not even a meme, the one like diagram that the one guy sent, just how to avoid it is kind of succinct.
Well, I don't even know. I don't even remember the diagram, honestly. It
was basically avoid these 4 things.
What were the 4 things? Was that from Roddy? Like that he got that from?
Roddy? I don't
Danny
know.
Roddy. Because Danny Roddy's the one that wrote Hair Like a Fox.
Oh,
yeah, he's a Peter as well. He's like pretty much, I mean, he's not the heir to the Pete throne, but he is sort of like a big, like, you know, like known like Peter that had like Pete on his show many times. Like people go to him for a lot of the information because like he basically knows pretty much like, I mean, all of what Pete wrote. I mean, almost pretty much all of it. He's like a library for this shit. But basically, I was listening to a little bit of his stuff, and that's actually where like because I was hearing him talk about like how estrogen like increases prolactin, and like prolactin is the thing actually causing the baldness. And you know, like talking about how like thyroid is like it, like, you know, basically if you have low thyroid, that's associated with like all the stress hormones. So basically, he was on this one podcast. I thought it was pretty good. It was these two girls that also interviewed Ray Pete, but I thought that was actually a really good episode. I was going to send that to my friend, but then I'm just kind of like, well, I already know all this information, so let me just like kind of group it in a document. Like I was thinking about like putting that like one lard study that guy, like some random Indian guy put like lard in his hair and he like regrew his hair. If you haven't heard about this or seen this.
No, I heard about the going on a carnivore diet, regrowing it.
Well, I don't know about that, because you don't have any sugar. It's going to cause stress, because your cortisol will go up, at least in the beginning. But even over time, like, cause Roddy tried the carnivore diet, but he said, I don't know if it got like if it maintained at least what he had, or if I think it got worse eventually. Cause you don't have any sugar, and sugar is very it's very, like opposing the stress. In the body. And honestly, like if you think about it, because like at night when you're about to, or I guess when you're like getting close to waking, like the cortisol goes up and the glucose is down. So like if anything, like if you have the inverse of that where cortisol is low, glucose is up, that's a very like low stress state to be in.
Gotcha. But yeah, I just realized, by the way, whenever we say Peter, that's a name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that won't be confusing to anybody here.
Peter's rise again.
But you said he was not the heir to the Peter throne, but Peter was the heir to Christ.
Well, Pete was already existing. And Pete's also a name, so it's like P-E-T-E.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an issue here. Okay, Pete as in P-E-A-T. Anyway, point being, I'm not saying Roddy is the heir to the Pete throne because it's like, there's Georgie, there's like other people, like, it's not really to say there's like somebody that continues the exact legacy, unless there's somebody to make so many like, and by the way, for you people in the Pete sphere, it's not Charlie. Okay, fuck that guy. But
Is he the Mexican?
No. This guy took over the Ray Pete forum, and he thinks that like vitamin A is a literal toxin, and like he's just a retard. Honestly, he ruined the whole fucking forum. And I used to look up shit on there, and now I can't. My access is denied, and I think it's because I'm on a VPN. But also, even if you're not on a VPN, he wants you to like start signing in to actually view the post. He's a fucking retard. But point being, if somebody were to make actual contributions, like good additions to the Pete information, like in the tradition of what Pete has like studied and written about, then okay, we can maybe call that person the heir to the throne or something like that, but I don't know. Roddy has just done a lot more of like actually like sort of giving out like, again, what Pete has said, like reiterating a lot of it and like just helping people through like coaching and stuff. But I don't necessarily know that he's made a lot of like contributions to it. I know Georgie's like just a really good source of information for this stuff.
Yeah, dude was like dropping like bombs of truth, like in that one interview with Saladino.
Yeah.
Damn. But
they had a podcast together. I don't know I don't think they still do it anymore. But no,
Roddy,
I think you were thinking of
Georgie.
Yeah, I think you were thinking of Roddy when I said that Mexican, because I think he's in Mexico. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, because he was talking about how he's in Mexico and he can't get Mexican Coke.
Damn.
Because they don't make it there. They have like some
it?
other like syrup they put in it or something.
I just had a Mexican Coke.
Yeah.
And it said Hecho en Mexico.
Did your friend have that at his house or something?
Yeah.
That's nice. I had quite a few of them because I get them from, my favorite, not really my favorite, but our regional grocery shopping experience place. And basically Publix, but anyway, that's not really even that specific, but point being, they sell that there. It's pretty good. I like it. I like it in the morning. Nice little dosage of it. Hey, but look, I thought you weren't on any caffeine whatsoever. You gotta be a little consistent here.
Yeah, I read it after the fact that after I drank all of it,
soda has
caffeine. Yeah,
soda has caffeine. It's not bad. It's like the amount in like a third of a cup of coffee. It's not gonna kill you.
I mean, I don't drink soda like that anyway, but I will be once I find out where I put that tab for the root beer. I'll find it eventually, because I think it didn't have caffeine in it.
Oh,
it was like sugar, the spices that you use to flavor the root beer, and then carbonated water, and I think one other, like coloring, caramel coloring, something like that. That was it. But to tie a nice noose around the religious topic, if you look in the book itself, there's not much that's actually okay. If you look in the New Testament itself, there's not much that's as actually anti-human, flourishing as there is in the actual dogma that's established after the fact in like Catholic doctrine, for example. And I don't know what was going on with them, bro. They just went. They were basically the fun police for a while, and then like after, like right before the Renaissance, they got Aquinas re-implementing Aristotle. So the Catholics are fucking weird, where half of them say, no, you need to hate your life. You need to basically want to die, but not be able to die. And then half of them are like basically ultra secular and have common sense, or like, no, this is gay. I just go to church every Sunday. So, and then some of them, they take like the modern like Catholic lens, where you're basically a leftist and you justify it through the church, which is retarded. Those are the Irish, by the way.
So where are the good Catholics, the secular ones?
It seems to be like Italian Americans tend to be those ones.
Ah,
Italian Americans and the Polish kinda, but they seem to be leaning more towards the medieval kind of ideals. The Spanish are kind of like the better ones too, because none of them give a shit about religion, but they still like they'll get upset if you say anything about the church usually.
common Hispanic W.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And then the Greeks, they're like that with their church. Like none of them really believe it anymore, but they'll still go to church. They still identify as Christian and all that, but they have common sense.
Common Greek W.
That's what I'm saying, bro. The Orthodox and Catholic churches, if you're gonna be any kind of Christian, one of those. Catholic, it's a bit of a gamble, but Orthodox seems to be kind of winning, like all the way. And I will say,
Aren't they the fun police?
Which ones?
The Orthodox.
It doesn't seem like it.
Really?
I was watching a video on it, the differences about it between the two, because they never really taught me this in a Catholic school. It's always Catholics and those dirty Protestants, which they were right on that, because the Protestants are fucking retarded. If you're a Protestant, you're watching this, I just want you to know, I say this with love, no homo, unless you're a woman, maybe then it will be with love. You are retarded and you need help. At least go to a better church. But the Orthodox in particular, they're technically the more conservative group, but at the same time, they don't take things as seriously. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to like a Catholic mass or any kind of Catholic thing revolving around Easter.
I have never been in a church.
Really?
Yeah. Well, actually, okay, like not like historic. That's excluding like historic, like museum kind of ones. But I've never been in like a practicing like
not
service.
Mass.
I've never been in a church service. That's a better
you.
statement, because I've been to like Spain and I've like seen some of that, like actual like old buildings and such.
I got some nice churches there.
Right. So I've seen that. I've been in a church, but I haven't really been in like a active church service, is what I'm saying.
This is a great counterweight to the drunk story, by the way. But basically, what was I going to that? Oh yeah. So the Catholics during Easter, it's like the ambiance, the overall tone of everything is like the fucking end of the world. It's just doom and gloom all the time up until the Sunday of Easter. Then it's, oh, look, he's risen. It's great. But apparently the Orthodox don't do that, which I thought it would be the other way around. I thought that'd be even more like, oh my God, this is the most awful thing ever, even though the guy's been dead for, was it 2,000 years now? And I don't know. I'm on a side tangent, but apparently
wasn't he supposed to come back like shortly after? Wasn't there some passage where it's like, there were a certain amount of people that wouldn't see Jesus come back, but like it was insinuating that there were people who were alive at that time that would?
Yeah. They took I was reading about that when I was reading about the Gnostic text, and how I think it was somebody had to like retcon that and be like, well, actually, we don't mean during your lifetime. We mean during your soul's lifetime or something like that. Some bullshit.
The soul's lifetime.
Which is eternal. So yeah, you will be around when he comes back, kind of. But the Orthodox, apparently, they don't do that. They don't treat Easter like you just lost your newborn son or something. It's like jovial and shit most of the time.
That's good.
Yeah, there was like one other difference too that I was like, oh shit, yeah, the original sin thing. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but original sin is basically you get inherited guilt because Adam and Eve ate the fruit. So now you're fucked.
Right.
And that also comes from Augustine, apparently. And for whatever reason, I don't understand how this works. Augustine came around in like the fourth or fifth century, one of those two, and that was way before the churches split. So I don't know why the Eastern Church didn't inherit what he was writing, but they just didn't. But the Catholics did for some reason. But maybe it's because they were not centralized like that, and the Catholics kind of did. I don't know. But either way, the Orthodox don't believe in that. Like, that's not a concept that exists. So technically, you don't really have to be baptized. It doesn't seem like, even though they still do that though. So I don't know how they justify it if they don't have original sin.
Because then they don't. That's actually appealing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I mean,
you become Orthodox Christians.
If I were to regain, if I were to lose my logical sense in regards to metaphysics, and I had to choose one, it seems like the Orthodox Church is the way to go.
Well, how would you know?
Not just because
you lost your sense.
Yeah. And I mean, I am just saying, those countries, while not always in the best of shape, they do tend to have better social values. The Russians, the Georgians, the Greeks. I remember like when the Greeks recently had that bill that finally passed gay marriage like a few weeks ago, the church was like, dude, what are you doing? Please stop. Because like technically, officially, the Greek church has say in the government, but then they're just like, no, we're gonna pass this thing anyway. And the church is like, bruh. But that was actually their official statement.
You remember George converts to, what was it, Latvian Orthodox to get with that one woman?
Yeah.
That'll be me. Not just like for a woman, it's not, I'm not going to find a specific woman and be like, but it is to spit game at the church. Let's be real.
And it would probably work in an Orthodox church.
Exactly.
They're like women.
That's what I'm saying.
Are we changing Argentina to something else now?
That we're just literally going to an Orthodox church now. We don't even have to move.
That's true. We could just do it here.
We don't have to move anymore. I mean, if it's so over, then you got that. But
Argentina's had a few setbacks.
Yeah. So that's I guess this is the plan now. How do we begin?
All right. I guess I got to learn Greek again.
Well, does it have to be the Greek one specifically?
No, not really. But I already have like enough of a foundation. The only ones that are Orthodox that aren't white. Okay, the only ones that are Orthodox that aren't Caucasian are the Ethiopians.
Whoa. Yeah, we're not going there.
That's actually, they're like the only ones that became Christian without the colonization run in the 1900s. One of those.
So they saw the truth of our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, the story is some Greek guy, like, he either got lost or he heard about the kingdom of Aksum, which is like Proto-Ethiopia, and he went to the king and he just proved it somehow, and he's like, oh yeah, okay, we're Orthodox now. This is like in the 3rd century, so like around the same time that Rome was becoming Christian. So they got a head start.
Yeah.
Well, you got anything else you want to bring up?
Yeah, so there was a Wi-Fi outage recently at my house, and so the problem was, I guess, I don't know, like there must have been some sort of outage with the company, and so the thing here was that basically, I was trying to fix it. I was like unplugging everything, replugging things back in, but nothing seemed to be working. I guess maybe there was some sort of other error here. I'm not sure. So I called the company, and I start saying, hey, so I'm having this issue with my router and all that. But, honestly, I first of all, I got like a bot, first of all, they said like, oh, hi, welcome. If you're having this issue, press 1. If you're having this issue, press. After like 10 layers of that, finally, they're like, we're sending your signal to your router. Make sure to unplug your modem. And so I'm like, I don't know which one's the router, which one's the modem. So I'm just going to unplug. I'm neither, honestly, but one of them was already unplugged. So it just kind of worked out my way anyway, even though the Wi-Fi didn't come back on. So I'm like, what is this? I call in, they're like, if this was about your previous call, please press this button and you'll be transferred to an agent. And so I'm like, yeah, hey, so I'm not sure if I unplugged the right one, but then she's like, it was the right one. So then we start going through the cycle of like, okay, well, let me try sending a signal to this. I'm gonna have to unplug these Ethernet cables, these, this like internet cable, whatever, blah, 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 these yellow ones on this one, then these yellow ones on that one, unplug the power on that. Point being, basically, I wasn't sure if, on one of the unplugs if I accidentally switched 2 of the yellow cables I was plugging back into the same thing. So I was like confused on it. So I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know if I did this right. And I started explaining to her, I'm like, wait, I don't know if I switched the Ethernet in the internet cable. Now, this yellow cable from this one's connected to this one. Is that right? And then she's like, well, as long as there's a yellow cable connected from one to the other. I'm like, right. But, one of the tabs says like internet and one says Ethernet. So I want to make sure the right one's plugged into the right one, because these are clearly for different purposes. And she's like, well, as long as one's plugged into the other. And I'm like, what? I just, I'm trying to figure out if this is the correct thing. She's like, well, as long as there's like a yellow, like, plug. I'm like, this is, what are we talking about here? And so basically I'm like, I think I have it right, I guess. And then I explained it again, because it seems like even then she wasn't necessarily getting exactly what I'm saying. So I'm like, okay, look, there is, this plugged into that, like, from this Ethernet cable to that other router. And then she's like, okay. Bro, she just straight up said,
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what the hell? It just sounded exactly like the egg roll video that I almost like burst out laughing because there was no difference. Exact same tone and everything. I was honestly, it was joyful, that I heard that, but it didn't fix the problem. I had to wait a while until, another family member could take a look at it, unplug everything, and then plug everything back in. And then it actually did work after that.
Come with working.
Bro. Now, okay, let me see what I got here. Hold on. Let me check something here for a second.
Ethernet cable?
No. It's something else I got here. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right. So here's how it goes. So let me put one on you. Let me give one to you.
Pause.
Let's try one on for size, huh? Okay.
Pause.
So Boris was a mad scientist who lived in an old mansion with a mansard roof, torch lights, and plenty of exotic electrical equipment. And so, his neighbors never really saw much of him. But, like every once in a while, they could hear some noises coming from the electric generator and the bank of insulators in the basement. And so one day, Boris asked of his neighbors if they had seen the Tiz bottle. They had not, so undaunted, he set out to find it. It was reported that there was only one Tiz bottle in the entire universe. And Boris, seeming like he needs this, he really needed it. Right. And so, but apparently there was a rumor going around that it was actually in the same country he was in. And so according to a secret map, it was actually near his hometown. And so, Boris searches high and low, and but he can't find this Tiz bottle. And he traveled far and wide, and he dug fields up and garden plots and cemeteries. He searched everywhere. Seriously, field after field, plot after plot, cemetery after cemetery, and no Tiz bottle. Okay, but basically, he wandered through these huge cities, big cities. He searched small towns, every kind of town, even the ones in the middle. And so one day he was about to give up, because he was seriously frustrated about this. But he wandered into a little shop for something to drink. When he was there, though, upon the shelf behind the cash register, he saw it. It was the Tiz bottle. Okay. And so then he asked the price, to the owner. The owner just shrugged his shoulders and said, he could just have it. But imagine this, the only Tiz bottle, and it's in the entire world, and it was at Boris's. Boris was ecstatic. And so basically he races back home, and he runs down into his basement, and the neighbors just become curious about this. They're like, how does this exactly work? Because normally Boris walked with a limp and rarely moved fast at all. But they saw him rushing, so they follow him down into his house, and the door of which he had forgotten to lock in his haste to get to his basement. And so basically they creep down the step, the twisty stairs there, and brushing away the cobwebs and sleeping carefully over assorted debris on the steps. Okay. And so it was a treacherous journey into that dark basement, and several of the neighbors were not certain they could make it. But, as soon as they came into the dimly lighted laboratory, they noticed a row of bottles on the shelf, and with one vacant space. So they also noticed Boris clutching the bottle, nervously placing it into the empty space on the shelf. And so they were about to ask Boris what was going when he stepped back to admire the bottles. Right. So basically, Boris bent over the bottles and he blew into one. And so the sound was amazingly melodious and haunting. But he blew into the next one. Again, the sound was fantastic. Boris continued to blow on the bottles one by one until the neighbors began to recognize the tune. And one of them began to sing as Boris blew on the bottles, "My country, 'tis of thee."
Okay.
There you go.
The Tiz bottle, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a really long one.
Well, so you feel the gratification from hearing the punchline?
I was expecting it to be better, to be honest.
Yeah, I was too. But I sat there and read through that story initially, and even though it was, I guess I got it, but it was somewhat disappointing to me. But I was like, you know what? I have to share it with our audience because they have to feel what I felt that day.
Where did you first hear this?
I just saw somebody post a picture of it. It's just
Where?
screenshot online on Twitter.
Oh.
It was in some like comment section. Basically, somebody was talking about how, and it was relevant because I had initially looked at the post because it was talking about how nobody ever makes these like long statements anymore. Like, just to have this like punchline at the end of it, like, these like long going on jokes, like you kind of lost that from old people these days. And so somebody starts like posting that in the comments is like, oh, here's one. But I wasn't, this wasn't one of the more pleasing ones. This, but usually I like them. The Norm one where he talks about like Jacques de Gouvernet or whatever it's called, his last name. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know which one I'm talking about? Okay. Well, I guess I'll tell it to the best of my ability, not to butcher the Norm joke. But so basically, I'll just tell it from the perspective of Norm, who grew up in Canada. So growing up in my God, I don't know if I'm going to remember this whole thing. Growing up in Canada, there was this. I'm going to have to make some stuff up, honestly. Here, I'm going to have to fill in some gaps as far as my memory goes. My bad, Norm. But basically, there was this the kid growing up in French Canada with us. His name was Jacques de Gouvernet. And basically, he was this kid who achieved much. He had these recognitions in his sports achievements, and he was supposed to go on to be a champion in our Canadian sports. And so basically, he was very admired by the community and everybody. But this Jacques de Gouvernet guy, I didn't really take a fancy to him. Geez, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, man. But anyway, point being, this Jacques de Gouvernet, I didn't really take fancy to him, but it had been several years, long time since I had seen him. Nothing ever really came of him. He didn't really go anywhere with the sports. Nothing like that. So I thought it was odd, and years had went by, and I was just there, and I'm at this park where basically, it's like a sort of like a SeaWorld thing where, there are people with animal or like checking out like the fish and all that, the aquatic life. And so basically I'm just walking, and there that day I see Jacques de Gouvernet. And so, there he is. And so I basically walk up to him and I say, Jacques, what is going on? I don't understand. I thought you were supposed to go on and become this person that would represent us and be this great figure. And I saw him there as he was with this dolphin, and he says, well, I believe I'm serving a youthful purpose.
Okay. Like, it's Norm Macdonald, so it should be funny, but I don't know. Ew. Ew.
I really liked it. It was like, it goes on for like 7 minutes, I think, in the actual one, but I tried my best to recreate it from memory, though, there might have been some gaps there as far as how long he went on for this joke. And it was on Conan too. So he was doing this in from like a big live audience of people. So, I'm sorry, Norm, for shitting on your grave by doing that so poorly, but there you go. There's what we gave that audience a quick knee slapper, if you will.
A knee quick slapper.
I don't even know how that would work. So anyway, this is the rizziest podcast ever. Not really. It's not really the rizziest podcast we've done. But
anti-red pill at this point.
You said what?
Anti-red pill.
Because of the no orthodox, well, we have to convert at this point.
Well, it's that, and then also we kind of just, well, no, I guess that is pro red pill to
say
we divorce when they are.
So it's okay. There's still hope for us. Comment down below which sect of Christianity we should follow.
I'm not going to listen to them. These people don't know shit.
Comment down
unless
below
they choose an orthodox
Christianity, and we'll see who gets the most likes.
Yeah, do
and
that.
We'll do a giveaway to that sect of Christianity. We'll give them common sense. We'll give common sense to one sect of Christianity. Best we can do.
Only one.
Best we can do.
So choose wisely.
Yes.
All right. This has been Gregistan.
Well, we're doing
Gregistan.
We're doing formal outros now.
I mean, we kind of had one. We just didn't do it per host.
This has been the podcast.
The podcast ever.